Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode number 408. Only 92 more episodes till episode 500. Very exciting. We're getting very close. It's good to be here today. Let's go around the horn and say hello to everyone. I'm joined as always by my son, Chris Reagan. Chris, good to see you today. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just got back from a walk. Got some coffee. Got a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Nice.
Finished uploading a podcast episode that I edited. So it's good. It's a good early start to the day.
Good. SBK on your egg sandwich, or?
Sometimes. Today I did. Oftentimes I don't, though.
Yeah, that's bold.
I usually salt, pepper, no ketchup. I'm not a ketchup person. I think it's too sugary. I'm like, I don't know. It feels like candy at a certain point.
Sure.
But salt, pepper for sure all the time.
God, I fucking love ketchup. It's weird because I don't naturally have a sweet tooth, but that is, I guess, the thing I like that's sweet is ketchup or like Pepsi or whatever. But I don't like, we talk about candy and all these kinds of things, but maybe that's how I get my fix.
You're not a candy guy? You were never a candy guy?
No, never. I was grossed out by, like, it's funny, man. I've always been weird, right? Like when I was a little kid, I was grossed out by candy. I was grossed out by gum. I was grossed out by chocolate. Like I just hated it. I hated it.
Your teeth must be amazing.
We said at around Halloween, it's like, that's when I would live, because I would be like, oh, I have all this shit and I can trade it or sell it. And that's what I did. And my siblings didn't steal it first, which they often did.
Did you have like really good teeth, I guess?
They were healthy. My teeth started getting crowded. We've talked about this. Is like my wisdom teeth started coming in. My teeth started getting crowded, Yeah. But, and I had cavities. Like I still have fillings in my teeth, but they're all from when I was a kid. So I guess I really wasn't like the most fastidious at that time. I used to drink a lot of Coke.
That'll do it.
So that was my thing, like my sweet vice.
Right.
As it were. Well, it's good to see you today. It looks nice and sunny out there. But who knows? Yeah. Who knows if it really is or not? Dustin Furman, executive producer. It's good to see you today. How's life?
A little mixed, just because last night I was sitting on the couch late at night after a very long marathon session. Could feel it in my sinuses. And I still feel it this morning. I'm coming down with something. And it's Holly's fault because she just had a sinus cold. So we'll see. I will either, feel hopefully a little better by the end of the show. Maybe I'll be on the verge of death. But you reminded me of something, Colin. I have a request to the audience. Okay. Small request. You brought up sweets. Did you guys see going viral this puck from Buc-ee's? That's the peanut butter cup.
I did see that.
It's like a hockey puck.
I did see that.
I want one of these badly.
What's the caloric value on that, we wonder?
Not as bad as you would think. It's like 500 calories.
Oh, that's not so bad. Have you seen the guy that stands out? We have a Crumble in my area, but I've never been to it. I don't like cookies really, but well, like I'm not really like there's some cookies I like, but
yeah.
But there's a guy that stands outside and offers people like $100 to not go in. Have you seen these videos?
What?
No.
Like he basically offers them money to not to eat something healthier or whatever. And then I've seen it where like the people come out and like start, the people that own the store come, you can yell at them and stuff like that. And because Crumble cookies are supposed to be like the most unhealthy thing in the world.
Oh, they're horrible. They're amazing. But they are unreasonably bad for you.
Yeah.
So if anyone in the audience has a Buc-ee's nearby, I will pay for the puck and the shipping because I want to see this thing in person. So hit me up. I try to never do this.
Yeah.
Like put the call out, but
right, because people will do it for you. They'll help you in any way they can.
I know, and this is that important that I want this peanut butter puck. But other than that, I'm good. And I don't know, not much new. I heard the baby's heartbeat again yesterday.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're starting at that point where Holly needs to go in and just like routine checkups. So they always check the heartbeat. And He had the hiccups yesterday. So it was very cute. Apparently that's good for him though. That's what the doctor's like, oh, the hiccups they help his lungs or something. I'm like, well,
it's like when the baby bird is poking out of the egg shell, you got to let him do it.
Yep.
You know, to build all the strength. And that's what the hiccups are. They're building
we need him
the
strong.
Structure of the sternum.
God, it's so sad to me that like hiccups are so unpleasant, and the idea that you experience them before you're even sentient.
I know.
Is so like that's so like that's so dire to me.
Dude, he's cramped. He's cramped in there. Like he's, you know, every day he gets a little bit bigger, and he's just in this confined space.
Right.
And then you get the hiccups on top of that. Not good.
I love the biology of it, I guess, like the biological memory of like when you're sad or you're upset, what do? You like lay on the bed and curl into a ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very interesting. Like, or like when you sleep, you curve your legs and come in tight. Like we go back to that state at multiple times in our life. It's very interesting.
It is interesting.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you guys. I was a little late starting. We were like 5 minutes late because something kind of it's not interesting, but it's what's going on. And can you hear anything?
No.
Okay, good. So I'm getting the hardscaping done in my land. We've made a joke about it on Sacred Stream or whatever, people picking out the bricks and stuff. So this was supposed to be done May 11th. Like they were going to begin the job. And then I'm very friendly with the guy that owns the place. So he got in touch with me yesterday. And he's like, listen, we had a cancellation because we had some HOA issues with like another job. So we can do it tomorrow. You know? And I was like, so in your mind, you're like, that's mega inconvenient because like it's going to be a lot of noise. You're destroying my backyard. But then I was like, let's just put our shoulder into it. Why not? You know? So they got here 8 a.m. With their concrete saws and their hammers and their bobcats and all these different things, and they're doing it. You know?
Nice.
So I went back there to talk to them. It's exciting to just get it done with. But anyway, that's what was distracting me. And so I'm glad the noise isn't so bad because it's fucking crazy out there right now. And I actually feel bad for my neighbors because I was gonna like I was telling Mike I had a whole plan. Like, right, like, all right, this is May 11th. On like May 9th, I'm gonna talk to the neighbors and be like, you know, there's gonna be a lot of noise, and I was gonna get them like a bottle of bourbon or something when it's all done or whatever. But then it just kind of happened. So I kind of look like a dickhead. These guys are probably like, what the fuck, man? But then again, like this place was the neighborhood was built 5 or 6 years ago, and it sounds just like it did. So if you were here, it's a little touch of the past for you.
Right.
Sure.
A nostalgic noise pollution.
Right. All we need is the mariachi music, which is the only thing we're missing from this particular thing. Because that was the thing Mike and I used to always laugh at, was like wherever you like whatever house is being built, just mariachi music just blaring out of it. And you know, like the Mexican radio or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I love this. You know,
my parents lived,
it's so fun, by the way, the acoustic guitar and the horns and shit. So it's a pretty fun little Mexican rock or whatever. I don't know what you would call that. Anyway, it doesn't go.
My parents, when they lived in Virginia, there was a lot of Hispanic neighbors in their neighborhood. And so they would have like fiestas, and you would hear them blasting the music. They would rent like the bounce house and stuff.
That's a big thing in my neighborhood, the bounce house.
And they would go like super late at night. And, you know, it was just like I'd be laying in bed and you hear like the thumping of the bass and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I guess the meme is true. It's like 2-year-old's birthday party, Modelo time.
Yeah, Modelo.
You know?
Modelo.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's awesome. I wish I would be invited to this.
I don't know if this is still true, but I know that when Bud Light ate shit, that Modelo became the most drank beer in the United States, which is really interesting.
I don't know if I've ever had a Modelo.
It's not surprising. Modelo's fucking. Well, I mean, for me, it's everywhere.
Oh, Cerveza. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In California, Modelo and Pacifico are incredibly common.
Well, even in New York, when I was like, it's just like it is a very. I don't know. My family was just like big into Modelo. It was Modelo and Blue Moon wheat.
Oh, like the one you put the orange in or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was like the default. That was the default beer that I remember seeing a lot of.
This reminds me, important update, because we've discussed this on the show, Colin. My 21st Amendment brewery shutting down. My favorite beer, they've been bought. The recipes and the brand has been purchased.
Oh, good.
By someone in Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool.
In Philly. So they're bringing it back. My favorite beer is back.
It's coming out of Yingling. That's where we're going to be making it.
It's going to be exciting. They're gonna cut costs and make a really, really paltry version of the thing you love, and it's going to be really great.
Oh no!
There was something recently that people bitched about enough where they switched it back, right? Oh, Reese's, right? That was the thing where they like fucked it up bad and they like put it back.
Yeah, they fucked Reese's up pretty bad.
They fucked up Wonder Bread at one point, but they fixed that too. And I think the EL Fudge is completely bombed. I mean, I don't know what they did with my precious EL Fudge, but it's fucking terrible. No.
Yeah. The Reese's thing, I particularly noticed around Easter time. I had an egg, like, you know, the classic egg that everyone loves, and I was like, "This is something's off about this." Something
happened in the last I don't know if it was the last couple of months or couple of years or something, but like something relatively recent. I usually put Reese's in the freezer. I usually freeze my chocolates because I just like that. It's better to me. Like I don't like having to unwrap a chocolate and have like, oh, it's like melted and it's like in my hands and shit. Like I hate it. Frozen Reese's is top tier. I had one out of the freezer and I was like, it's like that picture of the guy taking his earmuffs off, like all angry. I was like, I can't believe whatever the fuck happened here. It's because this is not hitting like it should.
I don't understand
at all.
I just don't understand why you buy or invest in something or even are the steward of something that is traditional. You would think that it would be the biggest. You think it would be the biggest priority would be the continuity of the product.
Right.
Like you'd think that actually the problem would be right. Like you wouldn't look for new ingredients. The thing you would fear is that one of those ingredients would no longer be available. Right. And you would do everything to like even have like vertical operations of controlling the means of production and whatever. Like, that we went over it on the show years ago. Or no, it was like a few years ago that like I was a big EL Fudge guy. I used to put them in the freezer too. And then they just made them different. Yeah, and it's funny because Micah tweeted about it and she still gets likes on that tweet every once in a while. Like people are searching on and like finding it, you know, on Google or whatever. And it's like, why would you change it? Isn't the entire thing about brands that they are consistent? That's the entire idea.
Dude, the nihilistic hubris it requires to be like, the glass bottle is not important to the Snapple. It's not important. Not at all.
Right. No, exactly. No, it's all part of it.
Like, what have you done?
And glass is better for the environment too. But I guess you have to make the glass. But
the argument is that it's like it's heavier to ship, so it costs it's worse for the environment because for fuel reasons. And then glass breaks sometimes, so there's a little bit of loss. Fuck off.
Whatever, man. Just temper your glass like a fucking man, so it doesn't break so easily. And so. It's like the beauty of McDonald's is like you go to McDonald's anywhere and it's supposed to be the same. And it's been the same since the 50s. That's the idea of the brand. I don't understand. Just make your own cookie.
Yeah.
Make your own shitty cookie. Don't leave the EL Fudge alone. Oh, man. Really pisses. But of course it's for money. It's like, oh yeah, like this flour is 5 cents a pound cheaper. Right. And then it changes the entire...
And then you lose 70% of your customer base.
Right. It's like, just pay the fucking money for whatever you were doing with the EL Fudge since the 70s, which is when I think it came out. Just do that. And then it's like the old saying, I love the tweet where it's like, we don't know how to do it. Like we don't
know how anymore.
We don't know. We've lost the ingredients, the recipe.
The source code is gone.
Well, it's good to be with you guys today and good to be here with the audience as well. This is Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. We go live each week. We have every single week since early July 2018. It's quite the remarkable feat, if I do say so myself. I'll take all the credit for that. You can get it 3 days early and ad-free over on Patreon. Patreon.com/lastnamemedia for not only early ad-free access, but access to Sacred Symbols Plus, our weekly supplement to this show. You can use the RSS feeds and the Spotify feed, so you don't even have to use the app. You can just get the early ad-free podcast sent to your podcast app of choice. You get access to Discord if you like fucking, I don't know, what goes on over there. And there are other perks as well. Submit your inquiries to the show. How's Discord going, Dustin?
Discord's pretty good.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, there still are, like I said, I know the people that would get voted out. I know. And I love the idea of the vote because then it wouldn't be my fault.
Yeah, it's so tempting.
You know,
But they're going to be banned from Patreon if they lose.
I'm telling you, I still think it's a little far. But if that's how you want to do it, I respect it.
Yeah. Well, go to Discord if you want to enjoy that as well. Oh, Sacred streaming as well. Continues Mondays at 1 p.m. on YouTube. We've been really enjoying that. Sacred Symbols Plus episodes. I'm going to sit down with Jaffe tomorrow. I feel like we've taken Jaffe away from the Sacred Symbols Plus audience and putting him on Sacred streaming. And it's some people don't watch that show. They want a podcast version of it, which is not going to happen. So I was like, all right, let's get Jaffe onto the Sacred Symbols Plus. We'll do a more traditional Sacred Symbols Plus Moriarty Cross Jaffe. So that's going to be the next episode up. We just did an episode about Saint Slayer's soundtrack, which is a great episode, and people really enjoyed that. The deep dive Chris led on Marathon is up there as well, and a bunch of other interviews. So please go check those out on Sacred Symbols Plus. We'll have more of those coming each week, of course. Sacred streaming continues. Dustin and I just sat and did a kind of a, chatted and hung out when Saint Slayer launched on my new game for my studio. Launched on Monday. So we did that. Played Starfield recently. Dustin and I did a little mailbag episode, which was fun. Played Marathon, obviously, the Sacred League. I was thinking about what I want to do. There are multiple options for next week. I was thinking of playing the Vampire. What is it? Vampire Crawlers. I bought it.
Hell yeah.
So I was thinking about maybe just doing that. I thought that would be fun. Mouse, I should be done with at that point. I haven't played Pragmata yet, but I don't really want to do that on stream. I want to enjoy it. The other thing was that we could play Returnal Tower of Sisyphus in preparation for Saros. I don't really know. We'll figure something out. But I'm trying to do a little more gameplay. I mean, we've been playing a lot of games, but trying to have more of an eye for that. Maybe 2/3 or something. I know people enjoy that. So that's what you can look forward to on Sacred streaming. And remember, all the VODs are on YouTube for you to watch at your leisure. Racism wrote in and said, hey, gents, too many games to play these days. And then Vampire Crawlers drops with 162 trophies at launch. I don't know how people are keeping up this month, but I am hoping for a summer lull later this year. Colin, how do you feel about the giant trophy list? And will anyone from the team eventually pick up the deck builder? Cheers. Well, I did, and I saw that. And so I was wondering if we play it on stream, if what will happen this time happened last. So when I played Vampire Survivors, you were earning so many trophies sometimes that it would stop showing you the trophies. I don't know if you had that experience as well. There's like a bug.
Oh.
Like it's not supposed, like sometimes it would chime like 5 times and then it would just stop. And then you'd go to your list and you would earn like all these trophies and like it can't even show you them because it's chiming too much. I like where his mind's at. They're all bronze, everything. So there's a platinum and a bunch of bronzes and then there's a bunch of expansions right off the bat. So I heard it's very good. Not a huge surprise.
No.
So we'll get to that. Ray, thank you for writing in. Merch at laststandmedia.store. T-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, stickers, set posters, etc. Please come support us over there. Micah will send you a package, a parcel to almost anywhere in the world. In fact, from these United States. All right. As I noted earlier, and I got to be a little advertorial here, is Saint Slayer's out. Mm-hmm. Saint Slayer Spear of Sacrilege, the newest game from Lilimo, the team that I co-own. We released our classic Vania style NES game, NES style game. It wouldn't run on NES. I did an interview recently where I was saying Saint Slayer's file size is bigger than every NES game combined. So no, it's not. It wouldn't run. It's like 250 megs or something. So no, it wouldn't run on the NES. That'd be fun to get it to run on the NES, but we're proud of it. It's out in the wild. It's doing well. Velocity's good. Barry has been fairly explicit that I say too much and that I should shut the fuck up. So I'm not going to tell you how it sold or anything like that, but I will say that it's doing very well. And I think the velocity is probably higher than any game we've ever had. It's outsold Tribreaker already. So I can say that, but Barry's like, Barry would never say it to me, but I think he wants to be like, can you just shut the fuck up? See, the thing is that I feel like I was telling him this, not that he cares, and I don't blame him, but it's like, I'm in this unique position where I have data that everyone wants, not because our games are important, but because like people like data and we don't get very much insight. And I'm always the one saying that. And now I can provide data, but now I have to keep it to myself. It's very difficult.
Right.
But so on PlayStation, you get updates, like multiple sales updates, like a couple times a day. With Steam, you get updates like in real time. So slowly, like we're patching a pastiche of numbers together. And we're really proud of it. So thousands of you out there playing it. We really appreciate it. Got to give a shout out to Ben Smith. He did PR. He and his friend, they do. Is it Lamb Smith, the PR agency that they run together? Dave.
Dude, shout out Dave. Great Canadian boy.
Yeah, he's Canadian. We have a lot of Canadian. I mean, Lilimo is a Canadian studio, unfortunately. So we got to get Barry to move to the States. He can live in my attic or something like that. But I got to give a shout out to Ben because his big thing with us, and I've said this on the show when we announced the game, was we're going to go all in on Steam. Like Steam is going to be the major place we're going to be. And it worked. Like it was definitely a great idea. Steam is so much more visible off platform. So like if your game's doing well on PSN, no one would really know unless you're on PSN, but on Steam, it's just much easier to imbibe that. So I think, but Barry's already like, shut the fuck up. Like, I think we've already sold more copies on Steam than almost anything we've done, you know, because just by focusing on that platform, and that platform segues its positive experiences to the consoles and not typically vice versa. So that was great input. And not something that I would have done because I'm so console centric that I look at our games as a console game. But it's actually a game for everyone. Like we already have a shit ton of reviews on Steam and that's great for us and the wish lists and all the rest. So it's been fun. And I appreciate everyone out there supporting our game. It's $10 on any platform, basically. So Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC. And we appreciate it. I have a few inquiries from the audience I wanted to go through about this. And by the way, I understand that it's not a conflict of interest because I own both things, but it's like, I don't want to be too on top of Saint Slayer on the show because I feel like it's a little much. So I just want to outline what I'm planning on doing. So we already did the music podcast, which was good for the record, for the vinyl, which I think is already almost sold out. It'll got to be pretty close, I think. So we're going to do a Sacred Symbols Plus episode about just like we did with Tribreaker, and I think we did with Perils as well, is a making of podcast with the team. I think that will go live like in a month. And the other thing I'm going to do is on Sacred streaming next week. So this week we talked about all the games we're going to play. The week after that, I'm going to platinum Saint Slayer on PS4 in a single sitting. And that's probably it from Last Stand as far as, so I don't want to be like advertising the game forever. I don't want people to feel like that. I want to be transparent about that, but I'm excited about it. This is the game people are most excited about that we've ever done, I think. And so I'm trying to kind of lean into that. And already thinking about the sequel in this here in Mind's Eye or whatever. In fact, we're meeting next week to talk about what we might want to do. So thank you. Appreciate you guys. Frodo Fraggins 9 wrote in. It's a great name. It's a little dangerous. I was thinking about this. It's like because it's close, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice. I like it.
You got to get that hard R in there. Yeah,
right.
You got to really make sure that R is there.
Right. It's one of the times where the hard R is good.
Yeah.
Essential, really.
Right.
It's an essential hard R in Frodo Fraggins.
He says, "Good day, gents. Hope all is well. Colin, congrats on the release of Saint Slayer. The game is seriously solid. I wanted to let you know you've added a new and very young member to the gamer battalion, my 4-year-old son, Julian. He's completely infatuated with it and sits in my lap while I play, pointing out the creepy creatures we're taking down, all while forming solid core memories together. Hopefully that brings you some peace of mind knowing that the next generation still has taste and won't fully fall victim to the Roblox mind virus. P.S. Any potential Saint Slayer merch in the near future? I know it goes against your usual simplified shirt designs, but I know a little guy who would absolutely lose it seeing the cover art on a t-shirt. Yeah, we have to. That's one of the things we'll talk about in the next few weeks because people have been asking about that a lot. I haven't thought about the merchandising opportunity. So yeah, we'll figure something out about that. As far as your son Julian playing, I love that. What I love is like Saint Slayer is an obscure game. It's never going to not be an obscure game, right? I love the idea of young kids or just anyone having memories of something that is that obscure, right? Right. And in the future, they'll be like, you know, be on the playground or be with you play Saint Slayer and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, little kid. I love that. I love being part of that.
It's like being Blasto or something.
Blasto, right?
Bring up Blasto and people are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Daddy, where's Phil Hartman?
Where'd Phil Hartman go, Dad? He's dead, son.
You know,
he died before the game even came out, son. What's
I was gonna say, you know, he for Frodo, his son Julian.
Yeah,
he wants merch. You know what 4-year-olds love? Vinyl records.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
They absolutely love, dude. 4-year-olds all the time. I see them. They're in the shops. They're looking for the latest Smiths record, preferably a vintage. So why not get him the Saint Slayer vinyl, which is the only merch available currently?
Yeah, it is. We'll do something about it. I think a sticker pack would be kind of cool. With Habroxy and Perils, we did merch technically, but it was within the special edition.
Right.
And we'll do, actually, I'm meeting with Dagan on Sunday to talk about the physical version of Saint Slayer. Dagan is going to kill Saint. He did such a good job with Perils, but like Castlevania and that kind of thing is right up his alley. So that's why it's up my alley. So I think it's gonna be very exciting to see him take that on. I hope he has the time, he's been so busy, like talking to me about his 60, 70 hour weeks and shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't.
Oh,
we got to figure it out, but yeah, the physical version will be coming. So I think, so keep an eye out for that. Lewis Templeton wrote in and said, hey, CDC, I decided to buy Saint Slayer, and I would like to preface this with the fact that I grew up in the PS1 era. My only experience with this type of game is a few hours of Mega Man 1. And just like Mega Man 1, this game is well and truly pushing my shit in. Do you have any tips to help us noobs that missed this generation? I completed World at War on Veteran, throwing 10 grenades back every few seconds, but I can't seem to stab a bloody wolf in the face. Skill gap, I guess. Anyway, congrats on the success with Saint Slayer, and thanks for the content you guys provide. It's been really fun reading about how hard this game has been for people, and then how easy it's been for other people. Beating World at War on Veteran is no joke.
That is,
and in my opinion, way harder than Saint Slayer. So you can do it. Like World at War is like pulling your hair out crazy hard. I'll never forget playing that game and being like, this is fucking nuts. Like we've talked about like all the grenade icons just coming on your screen, like audio ones.
Yeah, the game would like slow down.
Right.
Because there would be so many fucking grenade icons. It's insane. Veteran Call of Duty is like, at least back when I played, was like genuinely, even Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4, I remember being fucking incredibly difficult.
The original Call of Duty, when they released Call of Duty Classic, do you guys remember that they put it on PS3 and 360? Yeah. You like start on Normandy or whatever, and like I couldn't even get off the beach on Veteran. I was like, I was literally like, I don't even know what you want me to do. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. How am I supposed to survive? You would just like start to be like, and you'd be like dead.
I really like the idea of somebody playing a simulation of Normandy and complaining about it.
Yeah. It was very true to form and very realistic.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I do have tips. First of all, you can play the game on easy. It removes knockback. Then it's one of the things, I have a really hard time reading some of the criticism of our games, right? Not because some of it is totally accurate and whatever, but when people just don't get it. And I know that's like a hard thing to say, but people are like, the movement's stiff. And I'm like, yes, we know. Like, we understand that, and then people are saying too, one of the things that frustrates me, and I said this to the team, where I'm like, a lot of people are like, this really harkens back to the NES days. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't mean that there weren't games that were kinetic and fast on the NES. Like, we chose a path. Mario is not heavy. Ninja Gaiden is not heavy. Mega Man's not heavy. So like we made a game for a very specific group of people, or people that we hope understand that. And it's a little annoying sometimes to have to deal with some of that. Yeah. But that's not what you're asking. Well, in other words, it's like, if you don't like these kinds of games, then like, why are you anyway? So a few tips. Play on easy if you want. Removes knockback. Enemies are not as aggressive. There'll be fewer enemies. Code DSP will give you 99 lives on easy mode. If you want to check that out as well. There are just certain, like, we programmed it like an NES game so that we act like the game doesn't have has RAM issues, so that like when you scroll and then scroll back, the enemies come back. Like, that's all intentional. So like, you need to like keep moving forward. And I think the problem with games like this for people is they're not aggressive enough. You can't just dick around. You got to move, so there's that. The bomb spear subweapon is the weapon. In fact, like, that trivializes a couple of boss fights as well. The Beatrix boss fight, check those things out as well. What else? The storefront. Talk to Lavinia, buy items. Remember that your orbs carry over from playthrough to playthrough. So you can theoretically stack a shit ton of orbs and like buff yourself out, and find the health and mana upgrades, the permanent health and mana upgrades. Those will help you out a lot as well. But really, it is just a get good game. And I think you'll see the differences in skill level when you watch me platinum it in one sitting. Not because I'm necessarily very good at it. I am, but because I beat it like 40 times. So at this point, I should be fine, I think, with it. The one mode that I think is going to be tough, I was thinking too about doing Moriarty mode. That's one life, no extra lives, no upgrades. I don't know that I can do it. And then Barry and I were messing around being like, we should just, in a patch note, we might just rename it to Johnson, for Barry, because it's like, and it'd be kind of a funny thing of like, it was made for me, but I can't even do it. So good luck. Stay with it. And by the way, you have to beat the game 8 times to get the Platinum Trophy. So now that seems overwhelming. It's not. You can beat the game in 30 or 40 minutes if you know what you're doing. Just like the original Castlevania. Were you going to say something, Dustin? I think you were leaning in.
I was going to say lock in.
Oh, definitely lock in.
You need 8 times? Lock in.
I may have written a little something about the game's trophies. I'm waiting for it to be approved and published. I guess that's all I'll say on that for now. And that might be how I know the exact answer to that question. Steve 14X wrote in and said, hey, gents, I've been playing the heck out of Saint Slayer. Congrats to the team. An amazing job all around. Thank you. I will say I got absolutely wrecked on my first playthrough. I racked up quite a lot of deaths before finally beating the game. That got me wondering about telemetry. What kind of stats are you able to see when it comes to players in your games? None. Thank you for asking. We just don't have that kind of stuff built into Game Maker. It's unfortunate. There are like such sophisticated heat mapping, and like, I think in some games you can even jump in and watch. Like if it's an online game, for instance, not like a single player game.
Yeah.
We have nothing like that. So we have no clue. And that was something I was kind of lamenting. I'm like, I don't know. Like it would be cool to see like where do people stop? Or like what is a pain point? And you can kind of garner that in the trophies, but we don't have any of that kind of information. It's very frustrating. But that's just the way it is. So we have less information than you might think. That's why I love hearing your feedback and reading your feedback and keep it coming. And one of the things that I have to ask is, and I've asked this on social as well, is if you like our game, please consider reviewing it on whatever platform you're on. We already have 50 something reviews on Steam, which I think is substantially more than we've ever gotten on Steam, which is awesome. And that helps us algorithmically. I think it's actually 60 something at this point. And on PSN, we have over 200 ratings, which is awesome. 4.81 stars though, guys. 4.8. Oh, and Push Square, a 7?
Out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10. No, out of 5, not out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Push Square gave us a 7 out of 10. Come on. A 7? Then what is it? Then it's Colin Moriarty from IGN. That's good. Not when you're making the game, it ain't.
It's as good as Concord.
That's right, Chris.
It's as good as Concord.
As good as Concord.
Yeah.
I'll take Saint Slayer. As good as Concord. Put that on the box.
Yeah, that's
as good as Concord.
It's been really fun reading everyone's reviews and watching their videos and streams and seeing them. And, some people are really good at it. Some people just absolutely I watch it. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why is this so hard for you? It's not that hard. I believe truly this game is easier than Castlevania. So if you're having problems with this and you never played Castlevania, gird your loins if you go into that classic collection. Again, thank you guys so much. We put a lot of time into this. I want to say, like, real proud of the team. They did all the work. Again, like, my job is to make things up. Literally, I just make everything up. So that's a fun job. Anyone can do. Well, I don't think anyone. I'm surprised how few people seem to be able to do that job effectively. But my job is to just be like, yeah, this happened, and this happened, and that's his name. And meanwhile, Barry's got to like program it, and Josh is designing it and doing the art and all the rest. And they just did such a great job. So I'm so proud of the team, the guys that really put the hard work in, and I think saved me from some of my worst instincts as well in the development of the game. As far as me wanting, I wrote so much more than is in the game. I should write a novella at some point, a Saint Slayer novella. It'd be completely unnecessary, but I think that made the game better. Love seeing what people are doing with it. Did you see the Alex Jones video that someone made of like all the characters where it's like, like Patriot, eugenicist, but it's like with all the characters from the game.
Oh,
and they show Otto the chef, and it's like mental retard. I love that. Love that.
That's cool.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into some topics of discussion. We only have a couple things to get into here, and then we'll get into the news. But I wanted to begin with Niall. He said, hey, CDC. To Dustin and all the new gaming fathers out there, being a parent is only as hard as you make it. My wife and I have a 20-month-old, and like Chris's sentiment from last week's episode, it's not that hard. We kept our little girl to a schedule, and at 6 months, she was putting herself to sleep when we placed her in bed. At year 1, she was in bed by 7:30, and we've had the same routine now that she's nearly 2. She can sit in a coffee shop and enjoy a nice pastry with no phone, and we can do all the daily things we need with no tantrums. With a full-time job and being a parent, I have a few hours less for time for gaming, but I played less in recent years anyway. Whenever I hear someone say wait until terrible twos or how does she sleep, I always think about Bill Burr. Anyone who says that are just bad parents. I hope this gives you all some confidence in knowing that it is possible to be a gamer and a responsible parent. I wanted to read this, Dustin, because boy, oh boy, are parents going to be so annoying. The new annoying part of your life are going to be other parents. Oh, man. The FromSoft people, they take a back seat, right? The Elden Ring fans, Trails fans, Nihon Falcom fanboys, all of them are going to take a back seat. Expedition 33 people, Xbox Game Pass subscribers, none of them are going to be as annoying as other parents.
Sure.
And I feel like this letter, I'm not a parent, but I was parented. And I feel like this letter is a little reductive.
Oh.
In my opinion. I don't think there's nature and there's nurture. And I think there are great parents that have very difficult children. And I think that there's only so much you can probably do about that. Unless you have like real punishment and like fear of consequences and all those kinds of things. But I just want to say that like, I feel bad for the parents out there because I think there are a lot of parents that put in a lot of earnest effort and doesn't always work out for them, you know? So I don't think it's that simple personally.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I think there's definitely a little nature and nurture in there. I do agree though that something that, and you know, I haven't spent a lot of time around kids, so I have a lot to learn. So I'm not saying this as some position of authority, but something I observe is that there are a lot of kids and, you know, babies that aren't taught how to just exist. Or, you know, for another example is like, it's important for young children to just hear how adults talk to one another. You know, like it wasn't like, not that my parents were never let me play Game Boy or something or do my own thing when I was at my grandparents' house. But there were times where it was like, no, you're just gonna be here with us and you're going to listen to the adults talk. And that's how you learn how to interact with other people in a normal way. And yeah, the sleeping thing, I can't remember who it is. I'm sorry, but someone sent me a very nice email and recommended me a book about like, here's just some things you should do to help your baby sleep better. And I bought it. Have not read it yet. I will closer. It's actually probably around the time where I should start reading it. But yeah, you're
going to need time because you got to sound it out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm very excited. And I am not worried about the like, oh, will I have enough time for gaming? I'm just not worried about it. I'm sure it'll be a little less, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, he says here, with a full-time job and being a parent, I've had a few hours less time for gaming, but I played less in recent years anyway. Dustin plays less games. He's going to have a lot more time to play games because he won't be working here. Thanks for writing in. No, I'm going to be very intrigued to see the balance that it's going to be very interesting to watch you. And I'll be watching with keen eyes. Uncle Colin will be watching.
Right. I partially too, something I'm thankful for is that my job is not full-time hours, but it is full-time attention to the job, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
I'm always plugged in and monitoring things. We have stuff posting on the weekends. And so some days are more jam-packed than others. And so because I'm not putting in a literal 40 hours, I'm blessed in that way that some of that time during the workday that, I could spend making sure I'm caught up on stuff for games. So I am in a unique position for sure in that way.
Yeah. It's good. You're going to be good. It's going to be very exciting, very fun. I'm looking forward to his name day. No one knows what I don't even know yet. I have to see the baby. I need to think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the baby 5-10 seconds. And then I'm going to kind of go for a little while.
Mm.
And then I'll be back. And the first word I'll say is what I've come up with.
I know that pondering Colin look. I observed it very well in my own home, actually, when you were here.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't think you were like, like cooked, like blazed, but maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And I observed you pulling an amiibo off the shelf and just standing there and looking at it. Not absurdly long, but slightly longer, I think, than the average person would.
Right.
And I was like, so that's the kind of look that I expect.
Yeah, you'll get. I'm going to put all my effort, all my mental efforts into it.
Yeah, ponder
gray matter.
Like the wizard ponders the orb.
Right. That's exactly right. Because it's it's very important. It's probably one of the most important things I'll ever do is picking your baby's name.
Sure.
Yeah. I do think naming a baby, like, that is like one of the biggest like little domino things, right? For that individual. Like the name decides a lot. I think. I don't know how scientifically true that is, but I have a feeling that like the name determines how the kid looks. I think it really determines a lot. I'm not even kidding. Like if you have like if your name is like Simon or whatever, you're probably gonna you're either gonna overcompensate,
right,
and be like atypical. You're gonna be like, oh, well, who's that? That guy's name is Simon. He looks so jacked, or he's gonna lean into it. So you're not gonna have like a middle of the road Simon. I've never met a middle of the road Simon. I've only ever met extreme Simons.
Yeah, but I don't even know.
And I've only met two, and they've been both. I've met a jacked bodybuilder named Simon. I was like, that's so funny. And then I've met a guy who looks kind of like me, but like way skinnier and like with paper thin bones. I remember being like, this is interesting. And his parents are not like that.
I don't know if I've ever.
That's fascinating.
Naming is tough.
I don't think so.
Like we've been thinking, like, well, jokes aside, we've locked in the name. So it's decided for this baby. But you don't want to pick, like, we look at the most common baby names 2026 because it's like, okay, we don't want to pick a top 10 or top 20 name because we don't want him to be just like blended in with all of his classmates in the future and his friends. But you also don't want to pick something too weird that's going to, be off-putting for not only for him, but for other people. So you got to find that middle ground of like somewhat unique, but definitely not weird. So you guys will
you got to take the initials into account. It's a lot. It's a lot.
We consider that.
Because thank God, like, I'm Chris Ray Maldonado. Thank God my middle name isn't like Ulysses.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. I mean? That was always, because you and I have the same initials. So it's like, I always thought of the name Ulysses as well for cum. And that because it's so funny, man. Every CM probably thinks the same thing.
Right. Yeah, it's like, because there's no way you're thinking about that in like the 70s or like the 80s or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably like, oh yeah, you listen, whatever. You realize it's coming. You're like, it's not a real word yet.
And as Dagan always reminds us, you're sending that kid with the initials cum into like the most hardcore social experiment of all time, which is like America from 1975 to 1990 or whatever. Like when you're in school and you're just getting bullied and tortured. Like Dagan always talks about how like if you were into toys by like 5th or 6th grade, people were like, no. Yeah. And that would stick with you forever. Like you had to get off. Like you had to like move on to adult things. And now look at us.
And well, now it's like that too. School's the same, except now it's like now you'll be famous for how lame you are.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean, there'll be a video with like 60 million views of you getting your shit pushed in like in the locker room because you made a shitty joke to somebody way bigger than you. And then it's like, that's it. So you got to be careful. That name's a big deal.
Wild shit, man.
Love it. Is it fortunate or unfortunate initials with DTF?
That's yours.
That's mine.
What's your middle name, Thomas?
Travis.
Oh, your dad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, because that's an abbreviation. It's as long as it's like not like
it's not a word like cum.
Not cum
or like fat or like the
fat. That's a good
3-letter words are like
gay,
dick, DIC. Gay though. Now, my initials. I haven't been DTF since I was born. I'm a male that had 2 last names.
Crazy out of context sentence, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. But I originally had my mom's maiden name.
Oh, interesting.
And then when my parents, same dad, but married, That's when
I was going to ask what your mom's maiden name is, but you shouldn't say.
Yeah, I'll just.
Just out of curiosity.
Not a big deal, but
yeah, it's well, that's what I was thinking of when this topic came up too. Is like I love how what Chris was saying about like a name, a person's name. It's everything, right? And yet they're permanent. And they're not at the same time. Like you can just change your name, but like even if you hated your parents and like had a horrible upbringing and everything, like and your name was Tom, like you're just gonna stay Tom probably. And it's just funny how like no, that's my name.
Yeah,
like someone, and I find that so fascinating.
But even being driven to the point where you want to change your name in the first place is its own thing. Also, like that's a deterministic. I don't know, man. I think about that little domino a lot, and that's a big one.
No, you're totally right. Like I personally love my name. I think my parents did a good job with their kids' names, very 80s kind of thing. Dana, for instance, my sister, that's a very 80s name, which I love that. A little bit of a legacy from a different time or whatever. But I never considered changing my name, even when people would make fun of my name, which they always did my entire life. So it's like, no, that's who I am nonetheless. I don't think there are that many Collins though. And like it's always been a name that has I met the first time I met a Colin when I was in 4th grade. I remember that. But like, it's a name that's always kind of just existed as like a heat signature, but it's never been like an overwhelming choice of anyone's. Probably because I think a lot of people are like, because it's a one vowel off from being Colin. Maybe consider that at some point. But they didn't. And now my name's Colin. Muka wrote in. Said, hello, everyone. I'm currently a university student and I'm doing a summer internship after losing my job that helped me pay for school. It's a huge opportunity for me, but it's causing me to feel imposter syndrome and a lot of self-doubt. I wanted to ask if you guys have felt like this in your careers, especially early on. You all inspire me tremendously, and I've taken a lot of your advice in the past. Thanks so much. Fuck imposter syndrome, dude. You're exactly where you need to be, in my opinion. And if you're not, you're going to wash out really quickly. But the inverse is very rarely true. Everyone has thought that they've had that at some point. I think I've thought it in the past, and I've been amenable to having imposter syndrome. But the longer you go on in your life and in your career, you realize like that you're surrounded by a lot of imposters, and actually you're the real deal. You're the bona fide article, you know? So I think you just gotta embrace where you are. Even if you're swimming and barely keeping your head above water, you're there for some reason, and you can stay there as long as you work hard and put in the proper work and stuff like that. So don't fall into the trap of the imposter syndrome. Yeah. Sometimes doors just open for you. I've said it a million times. I was absolutely not the most talented writer on GameFAQs. I was a great writer, but I got lucky. You know, like there's a lot of people that could have done what I did. And I understand and respect that. That's just me that's the luck of the draw. That's not being an imposter. I was talking to my nephew recently, and I've used this analogy with you guys, but like he got an internship recently in his field. And I'm like, the door is open. Kick it off the hinges, dude. You know, like they opened the door. That's all you needed was for it to be unlocked. Just fucking boot it off the hinges and show everyone how much of an imposter you aren't. So don't be in that place, in my opinion, if you can help it, unless you really are an imposter, like you are in an accounting firm, but you're not a CPA and you lied. That's different. You know, you cheated on the bar exam and you found yourself at a law firm.
Yeah.
That's different. Yeah. You know, but like being where you think you should be, or like where it makes sense that you might be, lean into it.
It helps to be vigilant and to make sure you're not getting complacent, and to make sure that it helps to reevaluate often, I think, because or just to assess what you've done and just make sure that like, okay, you're still kind of on top of the thing. To me with imposter syndrome is like I felt it like numerous times, and I even feel it like I feel a dull sense of imposter syndrome all the time, but it's not like really thick enough, because to me the thing is like you spend enough time around people and you realize like, oh, everybody feels this at some point, so like it really is just kind of the default, so it kind of doesn't matter. And B, I've met so many stupid people who are not bothered at all that they are terrible at what they do. So like, why should you really? At a certain point, it's just like,
right.
I get it,
Chris. If you are even thinking the question of if you have imposter syndrome, you are already ahead of the game.
Right, but you can get stuck there. So like, I would just don't put too much stock in it. It helps to, from a self-improvement angle, Like it helps to kind of like constantly be thinking about that because it makes sure that you don't like stagnate or whatever. And you're always improving and you're not getting too complacent and you're not going to be like left behind or whatever. But it can be a really, I don't know. That's it. It depends on your personality, I guess, too. It's a bad mix, especially with like perfectionism and imposter syndrome. I've dealt with that a lot. And that's a bad recipe. But generally speaking, don't worry about that. Think about how many people are living it up and they're fucking brain dead.
Right. I encounter them and I'm like, damn.
You encounter them, you see them all the time. You know, like I don't know, man. I look at videos of Jake Paul speaking and I'm like, oh, whatever. You know, like what am I worried about?
You know, it's funny, Chris, because like the era of TV and radio obviously really started to erode it, but like the era of the internet has completely dispelled this mysticism around anyone. Right. Like where you would think of like a Brad Pitt style is like, I have nothing against Brad Pitt, but like the handsome actor, you don't know anything about him. So he's got a mystique and he's like the guy. And then maybe he has a social media feed and you'll learn a little bit more about him. And then you look at his likes or like you see like stupid shit he did and people are leaking. And then before that, you know what, these people become very distinctly human. And I think that level of that differentiation doesn't exist anymore. So like truly like people just float around dependent on the talent that they bring forth in some way that people demanded, I guess. And for the Jake Paul guy. And again, I don't know the difference between the two Pauls still to this day.
It truthfully does not matter.
That's the vibe I get as well. Like they serve some sort of purpose. It's what I always say about the Kardashians. Like, I don't know much about them. I mean, I know where they come from and everything, but like, I don't follow them or anything like that. But it's like people shit on them. And I'm like, I don't know if you should be shitting on them. It seems like they're doing pretty good. They know exactly what they are, you know? So you have a place in this world, in this society, be that person. Yeah. And Godspeed to you. Do you have anything you want to add, Dustin, before we move on?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to put it because it's not fake it till you make it, but it kind of is in that vein. You're not faking it. I remember when I started my first gaming site podcast thing with my friend Brandon, and then eventually we brought Ben on. It felt so weird that we made a website and a podcast and just started posting on it. And then it's like, oh, well, now someone's sent us a game. Doesn't feel like they should be doing that because we're just three fucking idiots who are writing stuff on a website. And then I remember being at PSX and being in the press room and being like, oh shit. And something Ben always said to me is like, even if you don't feel like you belong there, act like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Fake. I guess it's not fake it till you make it, but it's like fake the confidence to some degree where it's like, no, you belong here, do the work. And eventually that fake confidence becomes maybe mustard confidence. I don't know. It becomes real confidence.
Colin, do you know what Seinfeld line I'm thinking about? As we're talking about this, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Oh, if you, yeah, correct. Mm-hmm. That's not right. Right. Of course.
You gotta try. Yeah. You just gotta, I think fake it till you make it is honestly like perfectly valid.
Definitely.
Because like, think about how many, dude, the exposés on just like studios and shit. Like I think about Halo 2 Bungie all the time and how they were able to deliver a masterpiece with like no one fucking leading the project at all. And everybody was just like, what are we doing? I don't know. Everybody's floundering around. Nobody knows. Like we are fucking chimpanzees running around pretending like we're fucking angels or something. Like we're not. Nobody knows how any of this works. The economy is literally fake. So like whatever, go do shit. Do what you want to do.
I agree.
Be confident. And if you're not confident, pretend to be, and then you will eventually be.
Yeah, I mean, you won't get anywhere without confidence. I'll tell you that.
That is You learn that quick.
Yeah, just be you. And if you suck, I'm sorry, but I don't think we have a lot of those people out there in this audience. This audience is above average. Tone wrote in and said, "What's up, fellas? Just a quick question. Being one of the 4 black people in this community," he says, me, Cog, Micah, and Colin, "is it okay to use my profile pic for a Black Power t-shirt?" Now, his profile pic, guys, is the picture of me doing this. There's like a picture of me. I don't know, like from what. I think it's from one of the shows. And so I think that's perfectly fine. I wanted to tell you that. I think as I am one of the 4 black people in the company, as you said, and are in our community. I think this is totally fine. So go get it done and send us a picture, please.
Yeah.
All right. On that word, let's get into the news. Nice non sequitur.
Yeah.
Couple of interesting PlayStation related items, as it were, that get a little deeper into the weeds. And I thought they would be fun to talk about for us. So this first one has been circulating, and it's that Shuhei Yoshida, the longtime producer for Sony that became the head of first party studios and was the head of the first party team during its most prolific output. I think everyone understands and agrees that, has been slowly talking more about what happened with him. And to my credit, I don't get everything right, but I've been saying since the very beginning of him being removed from first party, or kind of retiring from that role, is that he was removed and he was demoted. That's not something you do. You don't walk away from leading $200 and $300 million games to go lead an indie initiative. Doesn't make any sense. And Sony wouldn't take a talent like that and do something like that unless there was more to the story. And so over time, he's told more about this, including on Sacred Symbols Plus last year when he came on and talked a little bit about what was going on. But this is the deepest he's gotten into it. And what I thought about was interesting about this is that this happened at a conversation at the Australian Games Festival Alt Games. And he was speaking. Now, I haven't seen the video. We're using thisweekinvideogames.com and their quoting of the piece because I assume that the speech, because I assume they were there. But what I think is interesting about this is that certainly he wasn't vamping, right? So these are, Dustin, do you have more to say?
I think he was on stage with Alana Pierce.
Oh, so he's being interviewed, because the picture they have here is him at a podium, which is interesting.
I'll look up to verify that, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that might just be a picture of him.
Okay, yeah, okay. So all right, so that's good. Oh, so Alana was there. Alana, something just happened with her. What was it? Something was announced, like she's doing something, right? Like something big.
She started like a production company, I think,
right, for movies.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's cool.
For games.
I've only met her once. I met her at the PSVR reveal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny.
So that was like, many, many years ago at this point. So he was speaking at this event, Alt Games, and he says a lot. So here's what he says. I'm going to read the piece. I won't read it in its entirety, but I'm going to read quite a bit of it just to give people some insight. It says, quote, speaking at the 2026 edition of Australian Games Festival Alt Games, the 31-year PlayStation veteran introduced himself by recounting his long career, including his transition from leading PlayStation's first-party studio efforts for over a decade to becoming the company's indie game evangelist as head of PlayStation Indies. He said the following, quote, I helped Santa Monica to make God of War and Naughty Dog to make Uncharted and The Last of Us and Sucker Punch to make the beautiful Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was one of the last games that I worked on as the president of Worldwide Studios. But in 2019, after 11 years leading the first-party development, I was fired from the role. This is the first time he's ever really said it in such explicit terms, in my opinion. He goes on, quote, Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him. He asked to do some ridiculous things, and I said no. So we have a little bit of insight into what happened here. Dustin, I'm curious if we all saw this, but when you saw this, what you thought. It's kind of the most explicit he's ever been. We're like spurned exes in that, like, this happened so long ago now and we're still shook by it, but I am bitter about it because it did have ramifications. Like, now we know. His games kind of left, the games he greenlit, like Returnal, have left this, so now we're getting everything else and it's not the same. I think everyone knows that, but what do you think about this, and what do you think he was being asked to do?
Well, I think he mentioned it on Sacred Symbols Plus, or I mean, maybe one of the other interviews. I listened to quite a few, but I think Shuhei mentions that there was a crossroads where it was like, well, we want you to do more multiplayer live service stuff. And I think there was a quote around this talk as well, where, he was being asked to do things he wasn't comfortable doing. Like, that was never his forte, was doing multiplayer games. I mean, PlayStation tried, of course, in that era, but they kind of relegated the multiplayer space to Call of Duty and other successful IPs already established. And so Jim Ryan, being primarily, I would say, the man pushing the live service initiative at that time, wanted more of that. And I just wonder how much Shuhei was like, this isn't going to go well, or whatever plan specifically that you're asking me to do isn't going to go well. I'm convinced more and more all the time that Jim Ryan, I think all three of us knew that he was not ideal, and not because he wasn't a gamer, but just because of some of the things that we were seeing and hearing about it. But especially now in hindsight, looking back on how all this live service stuff has played out, it's like, we've always said that we think that he retired, but I'm starting to question that now.
Yeah, I am. Well, I've been open from the beginning that like I've evolved from this much more staunch, like he had optionality, like it's time to go, your job is done, to there, like it took time for everything to come out, for things to come out in the wash, and then you realize like, I don't think they fired Jim Ryan. I think they just didn't renew his contract, and it's like, it's time for you to go, like, and you can go do something else, but you've made a lot of money and you can just retire. You don't seem to have a great passion for this anyway. So I think you're absolutely right from that perspective. Chris, let's get you on the record. What are your thoughts here? Do you have anything you'd like to share?
I mean, I want him to speak more. I feel like maybe he's too like respectful, and he probably won't do like he won't go on like a Jerry Springer type tell all, for on his time, and like what I want to know what specifically Jim Ryan asked him to do. I'm sure it's related to multiplayer stuff, but like that's, or at least that's where my gut tells me he's aiming the direction of the conversation at. But like I would love to know like what, like to be a fly on the wall in that room when that discussion was happening. It's like, I mean, you probably wouldn't understand anything. You'd probably be too worried about spiders and stuff. But I think like that's just, I just want to know more. That's all I'm left with. Like, this is like a tea, like a morsel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no. It's getting juicy and interesting. Say more, please. But it's not necessarily surprising. I mean, given now that we've seen some of the decision-making kind of pan out, before it was a little bit more up to like, oh, we'll see where things go. Because maybe these multiplayer bets pay off well. That was a possibility. Has not shaken up that way. Obviously, cancellation after cancellation, The Last of Us getting canceled, and God of War being put in this weird live service. But like all of this is not ideal, and a lot of it we didn't know. So we just have a more complete picture now. And so with the complete picture, this is not necessarily that surprising. It's a lot interesting. It's a lot more interesting than it was before we knew all this, for sure.
Well, let's speculate for a second. Maybe what Jim Ryan asked him to do. We know that Shuhei was the one who greenlit Concord.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Is it possible that Jim Ryan was like, I need you to figure out who you're going to cut from. Fund more into Concord. Fund more. Or it's like, tell these studios or push these studios in this direction. Or figure out, and, that kind of thinking where it's like, I need you to change how you're, because that's one of the main things that Shuhei talked about in your interview, Colin, was like figuring out like, you have this pool of money. Where's it going to go? Right.
Resource management.
And then Jim Ryan's like, okay, well, I need you to change how you're doing that. Maybe even asked him to cancel projects. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I think there's a lot to say about this, because I think to be fair, this puts Herman Holst in a better light, in my opinion, in a way. And it also brings into question what should be done about what Shuhei is saying to begin with. I think we can get into all this, because let me read this inquiry first and I'll get into what you're saying, because I think these will answer the same thing. Big Boss BE wrote in and said, "Hi, Slitter Sluts." I don't like that. With the recent reports about Shuhei Yoshida, it sounds like his departure wasn't just routine. He allegedly pushed back against some of Jim Ryan's more questionable directives and paid the price for it. If that's true, it raises a bigger question about leadership at PlayStation during that transition period. Do you think Ryan brought in Herman Hulst specifically because he aligned more closely with that vision? And if so, are we still feeling the consequences of that era today, or has this fully become a whole ship at this point? Because on one hand, it's hard to believe that Hulst would still be in his position if he were entirely responsible for some of the missteps we've seen. On the other hand, decisions like the Blue Point situation feel like clear management failures, and those happened well after Ryan's exit. So where do you land on this? Does this new context shift any responsibility away from Hulst? Or does it reinforce concerns about how things are being handled right now? Keep up the great work and congrats on Saint Slayer. So thank you. I think that it's, as you're saying, Dustin, a deploying of assets and the pool of assets is growing. You're getting more and more money. They've put that into their own financials, like the graph of the bar graph growing, where it'd be like single player and multiplayer investment. And then they would show them year over year. And it's like, they're spending like double or triple on games what they were spending even 10 years ago. And I wonder if, how would I put this? Herman Hulst was the compliant choice that I assume agreed with that direction as the producer of Killzone and someone with a little bit of some chops in live, and not that wasn't really live service in quotes, but more multiplayer, but just like in that direction. It's not to take away the responsibility Herman Hulst has, because he does, and obviously they're not crazy about him internally. I just continue to stick by that because I just think you don't get demoted like that. You simply don't. Yeah. I don't know why people aren't like more focused on that. He simply got demoted, but he did buy in and believe in a different direction. And it kind of puts a little bit more softness on Herman Hulst in terms of like, these decisions kind of came from someone else potentially, that then he took the ball. Now, their decision-making was poor, and I still think Herman Hulst doesn't belong in his position. But I think it is complex because it's, in other words, it's, I wish you guys were sports fans, but it's like each team has a coach and a general manager, right? The general manager builds the team, the coach coaches the team. And there's like a Venn diagram over them. And sometimes one gets fired and the other stays behind. And then that guy gets fired and another guy stays behind and so on. And there's all these different permutations of people that didn't really belong together. And I wonder if we're in one of those situations now where like Hulst made sense with Ryan. Now Hulst makes no more sense with Nishino. Shuhei didn't make sense with Ryan. He made sense with the previous leadership. So it's a shitty situation that I think kind of spreads the blame and probably places it to the point we made earlier. So like making it full circle about it falling at Jim Ryan's feet ultimately. And they just made poor decisions. I'll continue to lament the major thing about this is they've made their play and they'll never get to make it again in that way. That's the bummer. The money is like, whatever. I don't give a fuck about their money. I mean, I do in terms of them. I want them to survive, so they do well. But like, we're not invested in the company. It's like whatever. They've wasted billions of, I don't want to say billions. It's got to be well over $1 billion on these acquisitions, the development of these various games, the second party games that haven't worked out. Like, it's an enormous amount of money. But they do bring up things about Jim Ryan that I think are important too. Like in this story that I want to be fair. We beat the shit out of this guy all the time. It's like they write this quote: during Ryan's tenure, SIE moved into film and television production, reorganized Sony Worldwide Studios into PlayStation Studios, acquired Insomniac Games, Housemarque, Nix's, Bluepoint, Haven, and Bungie, and made a concerted effort to publish games on PC and develop live service titles. So some of those things were clearly bad. The Bungie acquisition was a waste. No offense to Bungie. I think we've gone over that a lot. Bluepoint was mismanaged. The Haven acquisition was stupid and all the rest. But the film and television stuff has been smart. Like really smart. Mm-hmm. They've made an enormous amount of money on that and have found real success. They're winning fucking Emmys, getting nominated. They didn't fucking Gran Turismo get nominated for some random Oscar. It's like, that's cool. So like, I don't want to just beat the shit out of the dude. And of course we talked about the success of PS5 as hardware, which I think he has a lot to do with as well. So I think these stories are about these interpersonal things are just all deeply complicated. And ultimately, so getting back to what you were asking, Dustin, like what was he asked to do? My assumption is he was asked to use first-party assets on multiplayer games. Because any other choice, we would have already seen that outcome because someone else would have done it. So if it was like, you got to cancel these games, it's like, okay, I won't do it. It's like, all right, you're fired. Herman, cancel the games. So, yeah, you know what I mean? So like, there are certain outcomes that I think nothing would have stopped. It seems like he didn't want to be the guy that's like, I'm not directing this ship into that direction. It's not, and they should have never done that. And I've been clear about that from the beginning. Like they should have just stuck with what they knew. And even acquire an Arrowhead if you can, or acquire whatever, like if it works out, and make them do their thing. But I don't want to absolve the responsibility of that completely, because I think that was a horrible choice. I also don't want to absolve Shuhei. To be fair, I love Shuhei. He'll admit it first. We bring up Demon's Souls a lot, but I still think like one of the biggest errors he made was abandoning FPS. In fact, like this entire situation might be really radically different if they didn't do that. And I understand his choice at the time of being like, we just don't do this. We don't need to do this. And again, it's what you were saying, Dustin, of limited assets. Like we can't invest in this and this and this and this. We have to make a cut. So we'll let Battlefield and Call of Duty have the first person shooter space. That was a mistake. Like, bad mistake. You don't have a shooter. Can you imagine in 2026, like you don't have a shooter? Come on, man. So I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. I know I went on and on there, but
yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about, it comes from Greg K. A few people wrote in about this. He said, hey, fellas, the return of Shu. I'm sure there's been plenty of write-ins about Shu's comments around Jim Ryan, but let's talk about PlayStation's ability to bounce back. Obviously, it takes two to tango, but what if Sony brought Shu back to replace Herman? Shu arguably oversaw PlayStation's best years, and it's been struggling public perception game releases, not console sales, with Jim's blunders, and now from Holst. Do you think the struggles they've had since Shu would be enough for them to say, we fucked up, he's right, let him back? Second question, Jim Ryan forced bad decisions on Shu. Do you think Holst is dealing with another potential bad actor, but instead of saying no, he's agreeing to them? To speak about Holst first, like I think it's fairly clear that Holst is a compliant actor for a new direction. And now that Jim Ryan's not there anymore, he is going to take the blame. Whether or not he agreed with it or not, he did it. All of these moves all of the taste making related moves we brought up happened with him, from Haven and Firewalk to Bungie, to putting Blue Point on God of War, to having Ben make a multiplayer game. That's all him. Now it becomes clear when you think about it, right? Like, oh, that's why you're making those decisions. You were told to. That's why you came in. These are the decisions likely, to your question, Dustin, Shu wouldn't do. You wouldn't do it. Days Gone comes out in 2019. Like, Shu's there. Like, it's like, what are they going to do next? And they're probably like, what about a multiplayer game? And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. Little things like that, I think, stack up. And if that's true, he was the bulwark, man. And you kind of got to appreciate his vision. As far as Shu coming back, I would love that. And I think that would be really interesting. But there's three things. One is Shu is older. He's not a young man anymore. He was at Sony for 30 years. It's a long time, and he might be done. The second thing is that, and this I think is a big part of it, is I don't know that there's enough time for him to turn it around and even be there to see the fruits of it. Like game development now is 4, 5, 6 years per game. The coaches in sports, again, come into bad teams and they can turn them around quickly because you can immediately try, right? The next season is right there. It's like you have another chance right away. With this, it's like, yeah, I got to come in and make decisions and turn the ship, and it's going to take years. Yeah. And I don't know if he's interested in doing that. And that's kind of a shitty situation to be in, because again, just like what happened in the early Herman Holst era, you're leaving him with this good stuff for the beginning. And that would happen again for Shuhei's replacement the second time if he came back. It's like, oh, so you get to experience the Ratchet and Clank, you get to experience, Returnal and Miles and all of that, all of these things that were for me. And why would you want to do that again? It's kind of thankless. And the third thing is we don't know for sure that Sony's unhappy with Herman, although I think that it's clear that they must be. And that my theory is that he's only there because they're riding his contract out. And he could be in a very Phil Spencer-esque position where you just don't believe that he's really making any choices anymore. And he's just kind of executing on things while they ride things out. But I would love for Shu to come back. Dustin, is that a viable option, do you think?
I think the reasons you laid out all kind of point me to it's not happening. Not that there's never any time where something similar like that has happened. Of course, probably most famously Steve Jobs.
Right, of course.
Coming back to Apple. But it's a totally different situation, as you mentioned, with Shuhei being older. And I think it could be true also that Sony corporate doesn't necessarily want to change the direction. They might still want to pursue the live service stuff because, as we've said many times on this show, that is where the money is. That's the future of general gaming. Not all gaming, but where most of the money is made. So they might be unhappy with the way Herman executed, but they still want the dollar from the live service skins for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. What do you think about that, Chris, about the possibility of Shu making a triumphant return to fix things?
I just don't see that. I mean, the reasons you laid out are pretty much what I was thinking as well. It's just like it's the pain with one is like, dude, it's so thankless. You're planting trees for like your successor to enjoy, basically, and it's like that's noble, I guess, but it's also not really because you're doing it for a major corporation. So like whatever. I think he still cares about games, and I think he's he still clearly knows a lot, and he cares about the industry, and he's passionate. Like I believe that's still true, but it's a different. It's not like somebody joining coming back to a band where they can immediately play a show, or like you said with the coach kind of immediately being able to try again. This is like a very different thing, and also like. Not even just the nature of how difficult the job is and how long it takes or this, that, and the other thing. Whether or not Shu even wants to be there in the first place, given the fact that he was kind of thrown out. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to me that you would go out and say something like this if you were amenable to coming back. That's the way that I read it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. This seems to me like, in a very polite way, this is kind of like nah, fuck it. I'm kind of over it. He would never say that probably, but I don't know him just like being pretty candid about like, yeah, they are asking me to do really silly things, and I was like, that's something you say when you're confident enough to not care about whether or not they want you back, and also if they offer you, you're probably not going to take it. But yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I get.
Did you guys see his response to someone's tweet a couple days ago? It was going around a little bit. I'll put it here in the chat. This guy in Spanish says to him, Shusan, that sounds really strange. The part about you getting fired for refusing Jim Ryan's weird stuff. It's out of place to air something like that in that way. It doesn't do your legacy or PlayStation any good. And he responded, you're right. Thanks for the advice. And I wonder if like maybe he thinks like I'm saying too much now, especially by Japanese culture standards, like way too much. Maybe. Now he is Western. He was educated in the West. He's fluent in English. He went to UCLA. He worked in the United States for Sony in the beginning of his career. So he's not he's Japanese, but he's not totally Japanese. And you could, and it comes out in things like this, I think. Bred in a more Western market, a more open market, but it seems like maybe we won't hear much more about this. I think, I think I wish he would say more. He should write a memoir or something. But yeah, I think he realizes like he's starting to maybe throw people under the bus a little bit. That's maybe the wrong terminology. He's telling it. People have thought in my past that I've thrown people under the bus, and it's like, no, I'm just telling you what happened. So his stance could be the same thing, but yeah, maybe he's flying a little too close to the sun in some respect, or at least he feels that way. I would love for him to come back, but I just don't. I just think that Holst needs to go, and they need to replace him. And I don't know who would be. I mean, there are great internal people that you would assume could do it better. Corey, Neil, Scott Rhodey, of course, bring up all the time. He's a well-hidden figure, but very powerful in that family. I mean, I think you would have a much better. I mean, would you? All right. And it's I like Herman Holst. Like, I think he's done good work. He's a producer. He was responsible for a lot of early Guerrilla shit. Cool. Horizon. In that specific role, right? And oh, by the way, Shuhei was a producer too. So there's nothing wrong with that. But in that specific role, wouldn't you want a creative director? right? Like someone who actually makes the games doesn't facilitate the making of the games because maybe they would have a better understanding of the situation at hand. I'm not saying Shuhei produced like some of the biggest games on PlayStation ever. So I'm not saying he doesn't get it. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking at creative output as some sort of vital element to your operation, don't you want to focus it through your creatives, like your true creatives? And you would put someone like Neil or Corey or whatever, the guy that runs Asobi, I can't remember his name, the French dude, like someone, or better yet, someone from the outside that can come in and crack eggs, do things. I don't know. They have to figure this out. I do believe that it's already on the path to being better. I just think, and I believe PlayStation 5 will go out with a series of bangers, just like the PS4 did. Like, I think that is going to happen. It's just all the time wasted in the beginning and in the middle. I think a lot of people feel that has ruined the identity of PlayStation 5 and makes this, as we've said, this era of gaming, this generation of PlayStation feel incomplete. And I don't feel that as acutely as a lot of other people do, but I'm not stupid. I see what people think. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. I'm fascinated by the idea of him coming back. Should we talk about more drama, though?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there was an interview that I got to talk to this guy at some point. Kiwi Talks. It's a smaller YouTube channel, but he does these pretty insightful and interesting interviews with various game development people, from various studios. And his 206th episode was with Gabriel Betancourt. Gabriel Betancourt was a lighting artist for years at Naughty Dog. He actually comes from Treyarch. We were talking about World at War when that was his first game as a lighting artist. And he was also worked on Black Ops. And then for The Last of Us, during the development of The Last of Us, he went to Naughty Dog and he was the lighting artist on The Last of Us, on Left Behind and the remaster for PS4, on Uncharted 4, and then on The Lost Legacy. So he was there for a while. I originally had two pieces of this interview I wanted to talk about. One of them was about the future of The Last of Us. However, and it's about him basically saying that there was this idea internally that there was a bunch of people or a lot of people that were immune and stuff, and they were this idea of like a community of immune people and all the rest from the disease or whatever from turning in the game. But I was like, he wasn't even there for The Last of Us Part 2, so it's like I'm sure there were a lot of ideas. It's like I don't know that that's that interesting. Actually, the thing that is interesting though is what he had to say about Uncharted. And he doesn't say Uncharted explicitly, but I think based on who he is, when he was there, and all of the rest, that he would know about a little bit about Uncharted. And I don't know if you guys. This is a pretty long interview. It's an hour and a half long. I didn't get a chance to listen to nearly all of it. Did you, Dustin, get a chance to listen to any of this?
I didn't listen to all of it, but I listened to this part specifically clipped out about Uncharted 4. Yeah, so for people that might not remember, is that Uncharted 4 was announced before PS4 came out. Do you remember this, Dustin? It was Amy Hennig was on stage or something, and it was just the Uncharted logo. Or was that at the launch? The PS4 launch? I remember there was some kind of launch event stream thing, and they showed off the trailer that had the VO. Right. That ended up being totally different than the actual story of the game, naturally. So hold on. I'm trying to find. Let's see. Okay, here it is. So, and people can go look it up at 9:40 in this interview. Again, it's called number 206 from Kiwi Talks, Gabriel Betancourt interview on Naughty Dog, etc. He talks about this mystery project. And what I wanted to say to give people context, because a lot of you guys might not have been around or tuned in at this time, is Uncharted was announced in 2013 for Amy Hennig obviously was going to direct and write it and lead it. She had done all the other Uncharted games. She had come over. She was actually started her career as like an artist and whatever in the 90s. And the game obviously had a huge problem at some point. And I've said before, and I've talked about it openly now, is that like I interviewed Amy Hennig for the history of Naughty Dog in 2014 or whatever. And I saw I didn't see the game, but I saw the whole wall of like chapter by chapter, like what the game was going to be.
and she walked me through it and showed it to me, and it was really cool. It was actually like a really cool experience, and she was a very friendly and very decent person. We spent quite a bit of time together that day, and it was later reported by IGN, and I was privy to this reporting. It was not my report, but I know who the sources are and like what was going on or whatever. I've never talked about it, and I never will, but that Amy Hennig was basically removed from Naughty Dog at some point during Uncharted's development, and this is when Neil took over. And Neil, of course, had a lot of experience with Uncharted. He helped write Uncharted 2 and 3 and worked on these different things. So he had experience there. But anyway, this is the tumult, the background for the story. So he says, Gabriel Betancourt, ex-lighting artist, says, quote, everyone has a vested interest in fact, I remember this. So he's talking about the games, and he's like, I remember this one game prototype, and I won't say which one. It's like, oh, okay. But there was a project that had been in production for 2.5 years, almost 3. And corporate had basically said, we're having questions about this. And the franchise was successful up until that point. There was no reason to question this thing would be successful. But at that time, the leader was surrounded by people. So the leader of the game was surrounded by people who were always saying yes. And they were living in the glory of their success going on to their 4th project. Okay, so now that's when he gives away the game. And I don't know if he realized that at the time. And now you know that they've delivered this deadline for a demo, and I think they just took it for granted. We've already had success before. We're going to have it again. We've done this 3 or 4 times already, so we're just going to be this great thing. And one of the directors from another team was asked to weigh in, and I wasn't there. I only heard the story. And that director walked in full of all these people. He's picked up the controller and he said to everyone, "This game sucks." And everyone was quiet. People were flustered. The director of that project was angry, and you could just, from what I understand, you could cut the tension in that room with a knife. And then someone said, that's really rude of you to say something like that. And he and the director fired back. He said, no, but the game sucks. There's no objective. It's hard to follow what's going on. The controls are clunky. This isn't like you guys. This isn't what we delivered in the past. And in the meeting, people walked out of there really upset. I mean, even this director, I'm surprised he had that goal to say something like that. He was disrespectful, not by calling anyone names, but he was disrespectful in that he was so adamant about how bad it was and insulting of the work itself, but it got personal. And then here's what happened. Corporate looked at it. They decided they were going to push forward anyway. They're going to, ignore the naysayer. Corporate looked at it and they said, you guys are in trouble. We're going to pull funding from this if you guys don't fix this. As a result, the director of that project was pulled away, even though they had been successful. And the naysayer, along with 2 others, were put in to help fix it. And then the game had to be redone. So
what could it be?
This is
what Naughty
pretty,
Dog game is it?
The only question, in my opinion, and again, you can read this any way you want. The only question is who the director was in the meeting, right? Because it could have been one of 3 people, I guess. But other than that, it's pretty wild shit. What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I can't remember where I saw if someone on Twitter or something was like, it's the George Lucas effect, where you do some really, really good work. Everyone respects you. You kind of get lost in the sauce on it, and no one's willing to say what you're doing is bad. And if you're like, who am I to question the person in charge of Uncharted, who has released 3 excellent games that each one exceeding the quality of the last? Then it has to be good, right? And so I could see that maybe being a little contentious, but the thing with any kind of collaborative project, not just game dev, is that people got to be honest with one another if something isn't working. What I'm really intrigued by is that I believe the line was like, the controls are bad and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What was this Uncharted game that it, 1, had radically different controls, and 2, seemingly had a loss of direction in it? Just because, I guess up until Uncharted 4, Uncharted games were extremely linear games. Obviously in Uncharted 4, that's where Naughty Dog started to play around with the idea of open world style.
You might see some of the bones of that, and what came out.
Yeah.
Like the desert map and some of the towns that you come across, and you can kind of walk through them in different ways. But
so it's interesting to think about I don't want to say more ambitious, but I guess ambitious in a different way, Uncharted 4, and what we maybe could have had, but clearly it wasn't working.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this. This is a fascinating insight. Like, I don't think you should be saying all this publicly, in my opinion. Well, I mean, what do you have to lose? He's probably not under NDA or anything like that, especially 10 years later or whatever. When he's been gone, he didn't even work. He worked on the Lost Legacy, so he was out by 17 or so. So it's been a long time. What do you think, Chris? This is a very interesting insight into the development of the very tortured development of Uncharted 4.
Yeah, it's interesting to have more context added onto this story that we've kind of known about for a pretty long time, in vague ways. But yeah, like that's my mind went to that immediately too, Dustin. It's like, how different was this game? Like my assumption, the assumption that I get from this video or from this interview, and just from what we know about what was in Uncharted 4 when we got it, is like maybe this was like a full-on open world kind of sandbox oriented game. Like maybe it wasn't like maybe it was a genuine departure where it's just like, this isn't quite as linear. Maybe everything is kind of a lot more open, and maybe there was more complexities to it. Maybe they had to redo the controls because maybe there was more interactivity. Maybe you had to like use the environment more or XY. Like, I don't know, but I'm really curious about what this version is that somebody would be like, this fucking sucks. That's awesome.
Yeah,
like I love the audacity of that, but it's also like, I mean, like a lot of, I don't know, we've heard this before too, of just like games kind of come together at the last minute. A lot of not in like a BioWare magic kind of way, but just like literally, like it's not running well until like everything gets baked in and all that stuff. God of War, I think that Raising Kratos documentary kind of highlighted that, where it's like up until the last couple weeks, everything was good, but it was still kind of like, we don't know how this is going to go together, and then it works. So I wonder, like, maybe this would have been cool actually, or if it was just too radically different, and they kind of scaled it back. They kept, like you said, some of the bones of that open world in there a little bit more, more condensed, but like split along with like traditional linear, more traditional Uncharted design. I'm fascinated by like how different was it? If it controlled worse, like, and also like the idea that's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, what else is there to do in Uncharted other than go forward? They're linear, you know what I mean? Like all of this communicates like a very, very different style of design than the first 3 games.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that, like, again, as I said, I wish I remembered it better. It's in my notes, but like what the run of the game was, like there were a bunch of areas in the game. So I wonder if the areas were just like, small open hubs, maybe.
Maybe.
Because you're right. Like if you're making a vertical demo, a vertical slice for like a milestone, or like for, green lighting more funding or whatever, you're going to carefully shine to a proper sheen the best part of your game. Like the thing that everyone stops everything to like make this great, like an old E3 demo. And so that's weird. And obviously they were jumping to PS4, which is going to be different.
Yeah.
But this is more in line with, this is where things get a little dicey, because like what I remember about the reporting, a guy named Mitch Dyer was the one that was leading the reporting on this at IGN, and was the one that broke the story. And again, I know who he spoke to, because I remember clearly, like I was called in to, like, I went home and then had to go back to the office that night, and got to like, I think I got to like, I used to take the train to work, but I think I got to expense like an Uber, because like we had to sit with like the boss. Like I ran IGN PlayStation, so it's like, all right, well, here's like what we know and what's going on, and I remember that very well. And I think I've said too that I think IGN has like since kind of recanted some of the story. Like if you go back and read the stories from that era, like they're not, I think the bylines have been removed and stuff. It's very weird. So I don't know exactly what has happened since, but I feel like it kind of, I remember the term used was like Amy Hennig, I think, was quote unquote pushed out. And that's, if what he's saying is true, I mean, that you can imagine that's where this direction this goes. If you're coming in and now again, who's the person who it's either got to be Straley or Druckmann, right? And you would assume it's Druckmann just because he worked on The Last of Us in a more intimate way and had more comfort with Amy, maybe from that perspective, co-writing the games and stuff. So I wonder, like, and again, it's not to say, Bruce was there and worked on Uncharted as well. He was the co-director of these games. So it could, it could be him as well, but I just don't know that I see that. But I don't know that I see Neil that way. I know Neil fairly well compared to other people in the industry, and I don't see that for him either. So it's like, it's a weird one. And I wonder, I just wonder. Yeah. But I will say this, like, we don't know what Uncharted would have been. Maybe some of that will leak one day. What I will say is what Uncharted 4 ended up being was phenomenal. So whatever they did, and you can't really, now, assuming it was Neil or Bruce, I guess you have some bravado. Assume this, all right, so the game is announced after The Last of Us comes out. So then you assume this demo is probably, it must be in 2014. Because that's why I think when the story was written, I was at IGN by 2015, so it couldn't have been any later than that. So they're riding kind of high. The other thing that you have to agree with, I think, is that they delivered the goods with Uncharted 4, and then Neil delivered the goods again with The Last of Us Part 2, so it's not like he was wrong. And we'll see what happens with Intergalactic, and Amy's never gotten another game out, which is too bad. I do think she's directing the Hydra game, right? The 1943.
I think so yeah.
And it's kind of gone dark. That like we haven't. Wasn't it supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. Yeah, and then before that, she did the Star Wars game that got pulled at EA, which I don't know that had anything to do with the game. I think that was just a misalignment of resources.
That was 1313, right?
No. 1313 was before the Star Wars acquisition. This was like
what was 1313?
That was the Boba Fett game that got canceled. That was Gio Corsi was producing that game, as I understand.
I still think about it. I don't even care about Star Wars. I still think about that game.
Did I tell you that I went to Gio's house for dinner? I was very friendly with Gio. He and his wife are very, very good people, and they had 2 Boston Terriers, so that's how we bonded. And I went to his house for dinner once in San Francisco, and he had a huge, like, authentic Boba Fett helmet. Like, not like some sort of like cheap prop or whatever, but like the real one. Right. And I'm like, and he went in as that's from 1313 and his experiences working on that game and all the rest. It was that's like the lost Star Wars, because the word about that game was it was going to be great. Yeah, but it just got caught in between that Disney acquisition when they just blinked everything out of existence.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it is. It's too bad.
Tragic.
And that's before they ruined Boba Fett. I mean, they kind of ruined Boba Fett in episode 2, but they really ruined Boba Fett now. And it's just too much. Like, Boba Fett's no longer there's like series and movies, and it's like, all right, it's not the same. There's no mystique. Now we know everything about him, so it's not fun anymore.
It's like Celebrity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the 2 big stories of the week. And they're 2 pretty big stories, I would say, for us, for our space. Shuhei talking more, and this issue with Uncharted 4. I wonder, if I'm Sony PR, I'm watching this Kiwi Talks page with a hawk, because it's got 6,000 views right now, which is not very many for what is being. I don't know what he usually does, but for what's being said, like, it seems like no one really knows this exists, and if they can get by a few weeks, they'll probably get, not have to answer. Not that they'll answer anyone's questions anyway, but God, it's so fascinating. It's also important to note that guy Gabriel Betancourt, it's a secondhand source. He is a primary source because he worked there, but he's saying he heard about that meeting. So
right.
That's also worth putting out there and reiterating. All right, just a couple more pieces of news for us to get through, my friends. If you're British or Irish, you might want to keep in mind here that you're going to need to verify your age on PlayStation Network because of local laws. This sucks. But I also understand it. Like, here's the thing. I don't know that I really give a shit about age verification if it means like we can break open the potential. Like, we just need to make sure who you are, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's like, all right, like, it's a private place, I don't think you should have to have an ID to go on the internet. But I think you should, maybe, if you want to go on the PlayStation Network, it's like, all right, it's not the end of the world. But here's what it says. This comes from PlayStation.com. And you can, if you want to read about this, you can Google age verification frequently asked questions. And this, I think, comes specifically from the Irish website. They say age verification will be required later in 2026 for Ireland adult accounts to access certain features. If you're prompted, we recommend completing age verification to avoid interruptions later in 2026. We use age verification to deliver the best PlayStation experience for your age and to help protect our younger users. If you have not completed age verification, you can continue playing on PlayStation, but communication features won't be available until you do. On this page, they have a QR code you can use, and you can just get right to doing it. The big thing that I wanted to talk about here is the features that will require age verification. So you're really not going to be able to use PSN in any effective way if you, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it when they get rid of the PSN, if you don't do this. So they write, quote, beginning June 2026. If you have not completed age verification, you can continue playing on PlayStation, but some features won't be available until you verify your age. You may not be able to use communication features on PlayStation Console, PS App, and web, voice chat, text chat and messaging, joining parties or group sessions, connected or third-party communication experiences, Discord voice chat, broadcasting and sharing features, broadcasting gameplay to YouTube or Twitch, and in-game chat or messaging and sharing or uploading user-generated content will also probably be throttled as well. So now this gets a little dicey because if you did either of you read this page in any completion? You don't have to. It's like a lot of the pull downs, like there's like facial scan technology and they use like a third party to do it. So it's a little dicier. I wouldn't mind just uploading your ID to some sort of, verifier that then deletes it or whatever, just to say like, oh, this is who I am. So it's a little onerous, but gotta do what you gotta do, I guess, as the police state encroaches. This is from all these lawsuits. I mean, the EU generally, and this is not the EU, but in Europe, like some good things happen because they're so litigious that like, that's why we don't have the fucking proprietary cables on iPhones anymore, for instance. Like now you can just use USB cables or whatever. That's because of Europe. They did that. So you have to show them a little bit of appreciation, but at the same time, they get involved. It's like the guys that are suing the PlayStation Network for like not selling games on PlayStation Network at different prices, depending. It's like, what are you doing? You're fucking. Yeah. We were talking about it, like you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna ruin this. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but I just wanted to throw that out there. This is from the Irish PlayStation Network, though, and I wanted to make sure that I read this right, that it was both British and Irish, because those are two very different things.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might find out that Pork Poncho is actually a 12-year-old.
Oh, my God.
Just with a very deep, swelt voice.
Yeah, can you imagine?
He just disappears one day with age verification.
Pure potato diet. Irish PSN age verification. Let's see. Yeah, it is PlayStation in the UK, according to IGN, UK and Ireland. So, because I know how much you guys hate each other. I don't want to, instigate any problems.
Right.
This happened right before we started recording. This has been rumored forever. So it's nice to finally see it confirmed. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced comes to PlayStation 5 on July 9th. So this is a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is Assassin's Creed 4, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Did they not call it Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag?
It was Assassin's Creed. I think was it not? I'm pretty sure it was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
It is Assassin's Creed 4 IV Black Flag.
Oh,
so there.
Yeah,
Looks
I
like
remember
they're
the IV.
that.
You're right. I was totally wrong.
So yeah, I don't give a shit about this really, but and it's not even that surprising or exciting because we knew it was coming forever. But finally, it has been revealed. Dustin, I think you and I discussed the possibility of this on the stream, maybe. And are either of you interested in this game or going to play it? This is a lot of people's favorite, right? Like old school Assassin's Creed game. So
yeah. This was one of the first games I played on PlayStation 4 when it came out, because it was like either a launch or a near launch title.
Yeah, I remember that. Let me look. I think it was a launch game.
I wasn't super big on it. There are elements of it that I really like the sea shanties in this are super fun when you're gliding around.
Sorry, what I remember this. What it was that it came to PS3 first, and then 2 weeks later the PS4 came out, and there was a port of it.
Right.
That's right. But I'm good on Assassin's Creed. I'm happy for everyone excited. These are not my kind of pirates.
Yar.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't. They're
too normal.
They're too normal.
Right.
They're too European. Are you going to play, Chris, Black Flag Resynced?
No. I mean, I played a little bit of the beginning of Black Flag. That's another really integral hard L.
I told Colin that on the stream. My old podcast, I said it too quickly.
You got to get that one really right.
Dangerous.
Well, yeah, we cut it from the show. I think I still have it somewhere. It will never be released.
But no, I mean, I remember thinking like, yeah, the beginning's cool, but this is a game built not all around, but primarily around the main gimmick of having the ship combat from Assassin's Creed 3. And I hated that. Like, I did not like it. I liked it conceptually. I thought it was cool that they let you do it. But gameplay wise, I'm like, I'm playing Assassin's Creed. I want to do social stealth. I want to be. I don't. What is this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I wasn't into it. And so the idea of a game, it's like, hey, you know that thing that you didn't like? This is all that. Or like focused on it. But like we've added more systems to the thing that you didn't like. And I'm like, I'm good.
And that's and then Skull and Bones kind of spins off from it.
Yeah, Skull and Bones couldn't be less for me if it actively tried.
It's funny that's how long that game was in development. That's where it comes from. Yep.
I know. It truly is. It really is bewildering. But yeah, I know it's people's favorite, and like maybe I would like it. Maybe if I gave it like a proper chance. And it's been a long time, but like it's just there's so much coming out, and even just my current backlog of things that I want to play but haven't gotten to yet is so high that I'm just like, this is realistically just not really in the running of things for me. Happy for fans of it. I know that this is a quality game. I know it's not like shit or anything, but it's definitely not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it kind of like, as I recall, it kind of snapped back to what people wanted. Because we've talked about it before. I loved AC3's setting, and so like I didn't really see what everyone's problem was, because I was like, oh, this is dope. Right? Yeah. Like this is fucking so cool. Like, but people didn't really dig it. And then the
setting carries Assassin's Creed 3 pretty heavily. Like the rest of it's pretty paint by number. The setting's great, I think.
Yeah, I loved it.
The only part of that game that's aged well, I think. Like the parkouring through the trees and stuff. It was cool. But
yeah, Ace. Yeah. So, and by the way, Chris, on your meter of offense, Resynced, not so offensive, right?
No, it's not bad. I just don't like the concept of what these games are doing generally now with these names. Like I just like it's not that Resynced is offensive. It's more so the fact that, well, it can't be remake or remastered. It's got to be cute. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't know why everything's got to be so cute all the time. Like it's fine. Oh, remastered is the worst easily. But there's other things too where I'm like, what? I just had something in my mind that was like similar, where it just like it bothered me when I saw it, but I can't.
I'm looking for.
It was like a dream. It was like a dream, like when you wake up and it just like flew away from me while we were talking. But
I saw one recently too. That's why I've been clicking on here trying to find. Like I was Googling worst game remaster titles. It's like, it's not going to find what I'm looking for.
No, yeah.
But that would be a funny one to do, because like there's some fucking bad ones, dude.
We should do like a tier list. Of
we should. I got to like figure out how to find that. Find the names.
It's tricky, but Resynced is fine. I just don't like that we're doing this, you know? Yeah,
it's interesting because I guess that's where they'll begin, because they did re-release, right? AC2 and AC3 just kind of up-resed, I guess. And then, so I wonder if they'll continue. What's the one we were talking about it the other week? The Rogue. That's like the one that's kind of like you can't play it on PS4.
Yeah, because that's just
so it's just kind of lost. You know,
that's the old generation one.
Did they re-release that? They must have re-released that, right? AC Rogue Wiki. Oh no, it did. 2018. Okay, so I was way off on that. They did. I was like, it can't possibly be, right? Like. That was an interesting. It was less bold on the 360 side, right? Because eventually they got backwards compatibility, and so you could go back to those games. But on the PS side, releasing a PS3 game during the era of PS4 was actually quite bold.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't. That's arguably like a huge waste of resources, but that was interesting. That was an interesting experiment that they did. I'm kind of glad they did it. It's just weird. One thing I wanted to say, it's Resynced. It's not bad. I actually like it more than Campaign Evolved.
Yeah.
Which I still think is a terrible.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's a terrible name, man.
I guess it's a way for them to circumvent the multiplayer mode's not right being in it. Although Halo isn't really known for its multiplayer, right, compared to Halo 2. So
yeah, Halo's not known for its multiplayer at all.
Right, like you can play it. No, I'm saying Halo 1 compared to Halo 2. Like people,
right,
because
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's I don't know. Don't get me started on this.
That's fine.
I want to have a good day.
All right, I thought this is a kind of a questionable one for the news, but I wanted to bring it up here. We bust Sega balls so much that we got to give them a little bit of a shout out here. Ecco the Dolphin Complete was announced. A&R Artelier, which is a kind of a newer company, I think, from the people that originally worked on Ecco in the early to mid 90s, have announced that they are releasing Ecco the Dolphin Complete, which is, it seems like the first 2 Ecco games and then a new one. So it is led by Ed Annunziata, and he was apparently, so I didn't know anything about this. I had to read all about this last night. So here's what I learned. Ed Annunziata worked at Sega from 1989 until 1997, and he was the producer of the Ecco games for Sega, which were made by a couple of studios on the outside that I guess are being reformed in a certain way. Like, did I even write down? I got to look this up real quick. The basically what happened is, do you guys remember that there was an Ecco game on Dreamcast and PlayStation 2?
Barely.
Let's see,
Ecco.
So that's like a different studio. The studio that made the Ecco games was called Appaloosa, which I think was later renamed to Novo Trade. And so this guy, Ed Annunziata, worked with them, but on the outside as a producer for Sega. Anyway, he was kind of the Ecco was kind of the brainchild of his. He apparently, according to this press release that they circulated, have gotten people back together, like original composition, art, and programming teams, along with Ed leading the team. They're going to remaster, I guess, a bunch of the different versions of Ecco, because Ecco the Dolphin was released in December of 92 on Genesis, but then it was ported in 93 to Game Gear and Sega CD, and then it was ported to Master System, interestingly, so backwards, in 94. And they specifically say in the press release, they'll be celebrating from the 8-bit Master System through the Genesis, so they're going to get all these versions of the game. Ecco 2 is actually called Ecco the Tides of Time, which came to Genesis, Sega CD, and Game Gear in 1994. And then the third Ecco game is called Ecco Junior, which was a Genesis-only, Western-only, I guess, release late Genesis 95 for younger audiences. Interesting thing about this Ed Annunziata guy, he was one of the leaders of N-Gage.
Oh, that's interesting.
And worked at Nokia from 2004 to 2006. And before that, he worked at Leapfrog. What's interesting about that is that I think he had a taste for that, because the last Ecco game, I didn't know this, I don't even remember this, there was an Ecco game for the Sega Pico. Like, I never knew that. The Pico was like the child, like the, let me see if I can find the date.
I've earnestly never even heard of that until
it's today. Like a child's computer that was released. It was released in the United States too. I'll put it in the here.
I have a Pico game.
Oh, do you? Here, I
bought it for Holly because it's Richard Scarry.
Oh, cool.
Busy Town. She loves that. So it's like $5.
Pico was like a child.
Oh my God. I had this.
Did you?
Whoa.
What? This is what it's called? Yo, this is tripping me out.
Little deep memory. What do they call that? Core memory?
Yeah. Oh my God. I haven't seen this in so long.
So the last Ecco game before the Dreamcast PS2 game that wasn't even made by any of the people that worked on it was that for that. So he, I guess, moved on to Leapfrog and then Nokia, and he's kind of just been chilling. What's interesting about this too is Sega owns Ecco the Dolphin, and it seems like they are working on that in partnership with Sega, which is cool. So shout out to all the Sega fans. I wasn't, my neighbors had Ecco the Dolphin 1, and I was always confused by it, if I'm being honest.
It's weird as shit, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's a weird.
If you don't care about a spoiler, look up the final level. I can't remember if it's the first or second game, which I never got to when I was a kid. This was a game that I would start to play, and then I was too young to really even understand it. But
it was Endless Ocean before Endless Ocean. Not really.
It's spooky. It's eldritch in nature.
It's crazy. So what is this going to be? Is this going to be Ecco the Dolphin refinned or something?
Yeah, Ecco refinned, right, exactly. I like that they're just going with the complete. It's really not complete because it's not Ecco Junior and it's not the PS2 version, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's elegant.
It is elegant.
You know,
it is elegant. So Ecco the Dolphin, we remember. I remember I was just such a Nintendo fanboy. I was like, fuck Ecco. Like, even in like who is Ecco? Like, but I was like in elementary school being like, fucking sucks. You know?
the idea of young Colin, child Colin screaming fuck you, and then it cuts to just a happy dolphin minding his own fucking business.
I hated Sega so much when I was a kid. All right. Let's see. Final story is just a Circana data for March 2026. I actually think there's some interesting data in here to share. Preliminarily, by the way, I'll also note that Capcom announced that Pragmata has already sold 1 million copies. So shout out to them as well, but that would not be included in March. So we'll get to that in April, but I wanted to acknowledge that as well. The best-selling game in the United States from March 1st through April 4th was MLB The Show 26. Not a huge surprise, I guess. Baseball season has started in earnest. So congratulations to San Diego Studio and Sony. Sony gets kind of robbed here on the publisher thing because it says multiple video game publishers. Because like I think the MLB acts as the publisher, like a proxy publisher on some of the versions. It's really a Sony game. Come on, guys. Resident Evil Requiem falls from number 1 to number 2, very strong. And a wonderful game. As I understand, the highest sales velocity of any Resident Evil game still, which is incredible. WWE 2K26 is third. This is interesting because I know this is true about King of Fighters randomly, but isn't it true about WWE that it's like every other one sucks or something, or that's like what people feel? There's like some weird thing.
Maybe.
Like where people have and I think maybe the last one was the one people had problems with. So anyway, WWE is still huge, both in real world and in the game world. Now here, Chris, is where I wanted to kind of focus in a little bit. Marathon, number 4. Now this is substantial because Marathon's $40. Again, I'll remind people this ordering is based on gross revenue. So it's going up against $70 games and $60 games, and it comes in number 4. What do you think of this? I feel like this is an indication things aren't nearly as bad as people are saying or feeling. Maybe there's a different story on console. Maybe the idea that console is not dragging this game along is wrong. I don't know, but it's reasonable to expect that could have been by game sale volume, the best selling game of the month at $40.
Yeah, I mean at 40. Yeah, maybe. Dude, I've been saying this for a while, dude. Like it's just Marathon is very good, and so like I think people are going to play it. I think. Does this account? Do you know if this accounts? This is just sales, right? This is not like
not
microtransactions.
I don't think it is because it says physical and full game digital. So
okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not worried about Marathon, guys. That's all that this kind of confirms to me. Like based on how I've seen people interact, and I've said this ad nauseum, like whenever we talk about Marathon, but like, dude, consistently when I'm playing the game, I'm running into people with paid skins and shit. Like I think, and this is before they have anything worth buying. So like I think the doom and gloom around Marathon is largely ado about nothing.
There is one fold where I think, Colin, you said it would be the highest selling or something. Crimson Desert probably would be in beating Marathon, don't you think? If it included...
Oh, I didn't realize the Crimson Desert's an asterisk. Yeah, so that's a great point. Would have gotten there eventually and realized that. Yeah, Crimson Desert is at number 15, but it's only counting physical sales.
Yeah.
Which is pretty remarkable, actually. I wonder why Pearl Abyss doesn't participate, but they don't have to. We've known the game has sold millions of copies, right? So yeah, it probably would have been. You're absolutely right. Pokemon Pocopia doesn't count digital sales and came in at number 5.
Yeah. That's a game key card. Actually, both of those games are kind of botched physicals because Crimson Desert is also a download disc. So
it's like, I don't even understand why I do not understand like why people want to do that. Like, what is the purpose?
Do you want me to?
No, we can't. No, we can't do it. Okay. Sorry, we can't do it. Can't do it, man. Can't do it, man. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection is another new entry at number 7. And then everything else is kind of normal. Ghost of Yotei holding on at 14. Helldivers dropped from 5 to 16. Death Stranding 2 bounced back up the list from 165 to 17 because of its PC release. And apparently it's doing pretty well on PC. I don't know if you saw, it's got a pretty sticky player base. Maybe a stinky player base too. I don't know. I'd be part of that, I guess. And then year to date, Resident Evil Requiem is the best-selling game of the year. Marathon is at number 6 in gross revenue for the year. It's not too it's not too shabby. Again, Crimson Desert won't be reflected on here and isn't even on the list at all because it would only be reflective of its physical releases. Anything else here? Pokemon Pocopia based just on the game card is at number 12. And Pokemon Legends ZA, is it Z through A?
ZA.
ZA.
Pokemon Zaza.
Did you see the stuff of Forza Horizon 5 here at number 17 for the year? Forza Horizon 6 apparently has 500,000 pre-orders on PC. Damn.
Makes sense, man. Those car people, man, they like their cars.
Cars and Japan.
I know, you can't go wrong there, right?
Yeah, Xbox sent people to Japan to play it. I should have.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have been so hard on the Helix merch.
You don't want to go on. Yeah, you don't want to go on the. I don't.
Come on. So am I willing to sell my soul for a free trip to Japan? Perhaps.
Dude, I could have sold my soul 1,000,000 times for that. And really in hindsight, I should have. I remember I told you that every year for like 7 years, Bandai Namco was like, we'll bring you to Tales Fest. And every year I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. I want to watch football.
Yeah.
All right.
There's perfectly legitimate people that are going out and covering the game. Just to say, I'm not saying anyone going to Japan on Xbox Path has sold their soul.
I am saying that.
Oh, okay.
Go do it. Who cares?
Yeah, it's whatever.
Take the corporate money.
Nothing matters anymore.
PlayStation's top 10 best-selling games, so only on PlayStation platforms, shows MLB The Show and WWE at the top, with Requiem, Call of Duty, and NBA rounding out the top 5. Marathon slots at number 6. And Crimson Desert at number 9, only on physical sales. Pretty strong. So anyway, that's all the sales content that we have, and therefore all the news we have for this week. Let's get into what we're playing, my friends. I think the best way we'll do this is we'll start with Dustin, and then we'll go to Chris, and then we'll go to me. And so, Dustin, talk about Vampire Crawlers first, then Pragmata. Pragmata will allow us to go to Chris. Chris could talk about his games, ending with Mouse PI, which can go to me. And so on. That makes sense?
Is that some synergy right there?
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Strategy.
Okay.
Take it away with Vampire Crawlers.
Vampire Crawlers. This is a spin-off Vampire Survivors game, but it's very different. It is a card battler game. And when this first got announced, I was unsure about it because I like some video game card games, but I'm kind of hit and miss with it. Like, I played some of Slay the Spire. I liked it. I didn't love it. And I haven't played Slay the Spire 2 or anything. So I was unsure about this. And a few months back when the demo came out, I played it for about 20 minutes and I turned it off because it was so good that I did not want to have to wait. Like, I didn't want to play a lot and then have to wait for the full release to come out. And it's awesome. It is, as the title suggests, it's a mix also with dungeon crawlers. So it has this element where you land on you're on the map, and it has like kind of a square POV and a map where you traverse to the different enemies. You get cards, which are the different weapons from Vampire Survivors. So there's like the Bible attack. There's the garlic that you use, and all of them have different ways that you can attack enemies with them. And I don't know how much I want to go into the combat because I don't want to bore people too heavily, but what I really like about it is that it's really combo based. So each card has a different amount of mana that it uses up. So there's like a 0, certain cards that are 0, and there's ones that take up 1 mana or 2 mana. And so the game is really all about structuring combos. So you want to play like a 0 card, a 1 card, and then a 2 card, and then repeat 0, 1, 2. And when you get up to that higher combo, you do insane damage. And it's so satisfying. And it has a lot of this. It has a similar feeling of Vampire Survivors because you open up chests. It does like the casino thing where it's like, the dopamine factory of Vampire Survivors is still there, even though it's turn-based. You have the different, I guess they're crawlers, not survivors in this game, that you can choose to play as that have different starter cards and different abilities. There's the Arcana cards that have like whole game modifiers. as you play each level, you get coins, which then you can also buy upgrades. So it's like do 10% more damage or earn an extra reroll on cards. And it's just so incredibly good. I'm addicted to it, and I got Holly to play it as well because she loved Vampire Survivors, and she was hardcore about Slay the Spire. She beat the whole game. I think on, I don't know if every character or whatever, but she was super big on that. And she told me, she's like, this is better than Slay the Spire in her opinion. So high praise from Holly. But yeah, I think it's $10 and it's available on all platforms. Sorry, Colin, I chose to buy it on Steam. I was considering PlayStation because I have the Vampire Survivors Platinum.
Yeah, you do.
But I really wanted the consistent portability. I wanted to play it on Steam Deck. And I know there's Portal and stuff like that, but I just wanted to be like, I want to be able to play this when I'm on a road trip. And maybe at some point I will pick it up and play it again on PlayStation for the Platinum run, and I'll be well versed in it at that point. But I'm really impressed by it. I'm just surprised that Vampire Survivors was like a surprise hit from a new developer, that they made this game that was basically crack cocaine. And they've managed to do it again in a different way. They've made Cocaine 2. Well, really Cocaine 3.
Cocaine 3.
Cocaine 3. So Vampire Crawlers, highly recommend it.
Is Cocaine 2 Vampire Survivors or a crack?
Oh, interesting
Cocaine,
question.
crack.
Yeah. This is Cocaine 2 recoked.
Recoked.
Repowdered or something.
Repowdered. Yeah. So Vampire Crawlers, check it out. It's awesome. Next, moving on to Pragmata. We've been saying Pragmata. In the game, though, they say Pragmata. How are we going to handle this, Chris?
I'm saying whatever my brain tells me to say when I say it.
Sure.
I don't care. I think these like really minute pronunciations are like fine.
Yeah.
I don't care about being like lore accurate.
Pragmata. So yeah, it's awesome. It's also really awesome. It's a really weird time for me with games because I'm addicted to Vampire Crawlers Marathon, and Pragmata is also really, really awesome. What I'm surprised by, because we've talked about the general premise of the game many times with its hacking, is if you play the demo, it's pretty basic, as it should be, kind of introducing you to this concept of hacking a bot and then being able to shoot it, and kind of navigating around, using the dodge, using some of the other weapons as well. But as you play the game, it just continually adds more layers to it that I absolutely love. In particular, what I found about, I think I'm probably 60% of the way through the game at this point, is that the hacking eventually becomes not just a way to unlock being able to fight an enemy, but also as a way to do combat. So your primary weapon always has infinite ammo. It just takes a while to reload. So you hack the bot, make it so you can shoot it, unload your clip, and then while you're waiting for it to reload, you can either switch to another weapon or you can do another hack that, depending on how you navigate through it, will do even more damage. And so I've gotten to the point where I'm doing a hack, I'm unloading my gun, and at the same time with my thumb starting the next hack. And that's when you really start to get a flow with it. And the variety of the secondary guns as well is really neat. All of them having a different flow to it. One of them's kind of like a shotgun. One of them is a missile launcher. One of them is a laser that gets more powerful the longer you hold the trigger down. And it all flows together so nicely. And it kind of, I was wondering why this game was delayed so long. We don't really know the answer to that, but the combat in this game is so novel that I wonder if that's where it was like I could see them having a hard time tuning this to make it feel right and feel good. Because on paper, it doesn't really sound fun, where it's like, oh, in order to shoot someone, I have to do a little grid-based minigame. No, thank you. Right? So they really pulled it together with the combat. The story is fine. I'm not in love with the story. I think the setting on the moon is really cool. The voice acting and the performances are a little hokey, I think, at points. They kind of they remind me of like dubbed anime a little bit. And the Diana, she sounds like an adult woman trying to do the voice of a little girl. So it's a little stiff at points, but it's very charming regardless. And I'm curious about where it's going to go, but it's not the type of game where I'm thinking like, I got to know what happens next. I gotta see the next step of their journey. So overall, I think it is awesome and I'm having a great time with it. And I'm curious what Chris is thinking about it, because you were interested, but you weren't necessarily like gung ho about it. So, but you alluded to me last night that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I think it's awesome. I think it's way cooler than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I expected it to be really. I also kind of went dark on it. Not even necessarily because I wanted to avoid spoilers, but because I was just like, yeah, I'll play this. I'm not that into it, but like I am curious about it. We've been hearing about this game for a really, really long time. The first teaser trailer was like, God, how long ago was that? Like
2020.
Like, yeah, it feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
So it's been in the back of my mind for a really, really long time. And I do have to say the tone of that original teaser trailer is not the tone of whatever this game is. And it's been so long that I kind of don't mind because I kind of forgot. But yeah, man, that this combat is really, there's something about it that like scratches something in my brain where I'm just like, I really like this. I love that. I don't know if, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I've played a game that has this exact gameplay style. Like I don't know if I can't think of anything that I would compare it to really. Like there's a little bit of Resident Evil kind of in just like the general kind of, third person, shooting and moving around. And there's a little bit of other things in there, but this exact like hacking minigame while you're shooting things and using the face buttons, the triangle, circle, square, and X as like essentially a D-pad in a modern game feels so strange because that's something that like my brain immediately was like PSP. You know what I mean? Where you were using the D-pad as like the camera because you didn't have a second analog stick. And it's just like, oh, this feels so weird, but it feels kind of good. And I like how there are certain weapons that kind of feed into the grid. Like there's like a sticky bomb launcher that like if you hit enemies with it, it gets rid of certain parts of the grid to make it easier to hack. And like it's also a little bit of Snake too, because you have to choose which buffs and debuffs to hit on your way to finalizing a hack. And there's like a perfect parry, or not a perfect parry, but like a perfect dodge. And yeah, like, I don't know. The gameplay part of it is a lot more sticky with me and a lot more enjoyable than I really thought it would be. I thought it might be stiff. I thought it might be kind of awkward. I thought maybe it was more flash than substance or whatever, but like it's fairly in depth, and there's a lot more to this game than I thought there would be. There's extraneous aspects to it that I don't want to say I'm not the biggest fan of. I just don't. They're kind of like nothing to me. There's like a hub area where you kind of, I think it's called the Cradle. I think. Am I wrong, Dustin? Is it like this like weird like hub in the middle where like you kind of go back to when you die, and like it's where you go to upgrade stuff. You get to kind of flesh out the relationship between Hugh and Diana, the main characters, and it's charming. It's cool. Like the story is good enough. I'm not really, I don't really care. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. I just mean like it's serviceable. It's keeping me along. I am curious. I'm not like crying. I'm not like moved to tears or anything. But that's always been like the least important aspects of video games to me. So it's not really a problem. But the hub world is kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like you get to flesh out little bits of the space. You get to give Diana like little bits of Earth to kind of experience. And there's like some dialogue there. And it's cute. I'm not a hub world person. I don't like it's the one thing about Doom Eternal that I don't like is the hub world. So like hub worlds to me in general are just kind of whatever. But like the core gameplay of it, like moving through these spaces and shooting and hacking and, finding collectibles and like finding like, upgrade tokens. Like it's really, the pacing is really good. Like it's really momentum oriented, and I'm rarely lost or confused or not doing something that I want to be doing for long stretches of time. I'm not like picking flowers with some random woman for 3 hours.
Oh, doesn't he's out.
He couldn't handle the God of War slander.
I've had enough. Hold on.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going. It's my camera's overheating. I need a new air conditioner. Okay.
But yeah, I think it's authentically great. I actually take a little bit of issue with some people being like, oh, it's like a 7 out of 10, and it's like, but it's really good. And I'm like, I think it's better. I think it's substantial. I think it's genuinely, like, from a gameplay perspective, I think it's pretty fucking immaculate. And I'm really into it. I'm like, I want to say like 8 hours in. And I got to say, I bought it on a whim because I kept seeing these psychotic conversations online about it. And I was like, all right, you know what? I was going to play this later, but like, I'm curious about it. Let me strike while the iron's hot. And I expected to play it for I expected to play it for a little bit on the night that I got it. And I ended up playing it for like 5 straight hours. And I was like, this is hitting, man. So awesome. I'm a big fan of Pragmata. I'm going to be playing more of it. Probably later today. I'm enamored with it. And that, is it a spoiler to mention the city aspect? Because I feel like that's been in trailers.
Oh, that's been, I think that was in like the reveal.
That's the first trailer, right? Yeah, New York City on the moon is fucking cool. Like I was like, this is combining a lot of things that I really like together in ways that I never thought I would see Times Square on the moon. That's insane. So whoever thought of that is top tier. Good job. But it's a really great game. I'm also playing randomly. Also, this is another thing I kept seeing on my timeline. And I was just like, I had to see what the hell this was. I'm playing Tomodachi Life.
Mike is playing that as well.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what? I don't dislike these games. I just they don't really click with me generally. But I am curious about them, and I see the value in it. Like, I played Animal Crossing New Horizons when that came out, just because we were all locked indoors. And I was like looking for something to do, and I found enjoyment out of it, but it was never going to be a game that I was going to stick to, and this is largely the same. But it is fun to just make Sims based on real people or fictional characters and just like let them, and then it's become like a bit of a habit for me to, like, at the end of the day, I'll go in and I'll check in on them, and there'll be some like bullshit happening, and it's cute. It's fun. It's not a particularly gameplay heavy game. I'm not planning on playing it for particularly very long, but I did want to dabble in it a little bit. I've got an island full of, I've got me and my friends, and then I've run out of people that I want to include, and so now it's just like, I got George Costanza in there, I got the Soup Nazi in there, and I have the Soup Nazi living in his own house really far away from everybody, so he's curmudgeonly, and I want to encourage that. And it's it's cute. It's the same thing of, it's almost like, I don't know, sea monkeys or like an ant farm with like a little bit of like, I don't know. There's an aspect to it that's interesting. It's cute. I imagine most people know what this game is. That was the thing for me though. It's like, I wanted to know what the hell this was, because I kept seeing these out of context snippets of people like these Tomodachi, these me characters talking about like, I want to talk about bombing the Middle East, and like the other character's like, I love bombing the Middle. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? What is this Nintendo game? And I was like, can you really just put anything in there? And like, you really can. Like, it's just, there's no censorship at all. It's kind of crazy. It is a little bit at odds with how adult it can be, because you could just have these characters saying really heinous shit, but they're really not allowed to do anything. So that's kind of, there's a weird like mismatch there, but it's cute. It's endearing. Yeah. I've made it a little bit of a habit of like spending like maybe like 10 minutes every night, kind of checking in, seeing what crushes are developed. The Soup Nazi has a crush on George.
Uh-oh.
Which is entertaining, but yeah, that's awesome. It's Tomodachi Life. You can look. There's a demo, I think, on Switch as well. Also, I wanted a reason to use my Switch that's been sitting there collecting dust, and this seemed like a pretty good reason. But not much to say about that other than it's entertaining and amusing. And then I'm also playing Mouse PI for Hire. This is the 1930s rubber hose, black and white inspired detective noir boomer shooter. A lot of words there.
Yeah.
I like it, but I like it way less than I was hoping to like it. And I think part of it is like there's kind of I don't want to say a lack of commitment necessarily, because that's not necessarily holistically what I mean. But you start the game off and you have your 2D character, and it's cool, and then there's the 2D enemies coming at you, and then the power-ups are 3D. And then like these interactables, all the interactables are 3D, and it's like that's kind of, I don't know, like there's something about it that kind of feels like a little odd and not congruent. And then it doesn't help that the hitboxes feel a little off, and it doesn't really like there's a lot of talking, and it's like is this a detective game or is this a boomer shooter? Like I kind of, I don't know. I want to give it some more time. I've only played it for about like 3 hours or so, but like I was kind of bummed out that I didn't want to play more of it, because I just kind of felt like I like the style. There's a lot in the presentation that I fucking adore. Like there's like specifically like when it first starts off, you get the option to kind of have the diffusion, like the like you get to blur the screen a little bit, and you get to like have the sound like it's coming out of like an old, like you get a lot of flexibility for the presentation, and the presentation's easily the strongest thing about it. I think personally it's carrying the game, and that's not a knock really. It's a perfectly competent game, but like this style is really great, and it feels good to inhabit. But also like I don't know, the enemies aren't really that interesting. I feel like the guns don't feel that good, and it's a boomer shooter, so I don't want to be like too critical of it. It is an indie game, and it's great by all intents and purposes, but like I'm not feeling it as much as I wanted to. I'm gonna give it some more time. I've only got like a couple of weapons so far. I think I just got there's like a gun that shoots like acid bombs or something that you get fairly early that I just got. And the death animations are great. Again, the presentation's pretty top notch. I just don't know if I care about all this talking. Because I'm in the mindset of like wanting to shoot everything, because it's what the game is kind of built around. But then there's like all these conversations. I'm like, I don't want this really. But if I did want it, I wouldn't want it to be a boomer shooter either. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this weird mix of like I kind of want a fully committed detective game like this also. And I also want like a fully committed boomer shooter that really takes into account like, like enemy variety and like the feel of weapons. And this kind of feels like it's doing both and not doing either one exceptionally well. But the coat of paint that's over it is really, really high quality and really cool. So it's like, it is entertaining and it's pretty good. But yeah, a little bit softer than I would have liked to be. But I am curious because I feel like I'm an outlier on that. Seems like a lot of people really like it. And I do like it a little bit too, by the way. But a lot of people are a lot higher on it. I guess I'll pass it over to Colin, right? Because you're playing this as well.
Right, I am. I don't know. I might be halfway through it or something like that. I love it. I think it's, from my perspective, I think it's exceptional. And it is a boomer shooter. So like you said, I play a lot of boomer shooters, as people know, and I have a lot of experience with them, and there are better ones than others. And I don't think that mechanically this is the best boomer shooter, but I think it's totally no worse than good and maybe even great.
Yeah.
From that perspective, they've never been the most dynamic games to play. It's really about like the experiential thing, which I think this game gets really right, like secret areas and collectibles and rotisserie of weapons, and then some kind of modern accoutrements like the hub world and upgrading weapons and so on and so forth. You're absolutely right that the presentation carries the game in a way, and that's, I think, by design, and it's what makes the game so novel. It's, in my opinion, incredibly charming. And the character designs are amazing. Like I love the reporter chick that's like in the bar and she's got like the little pad or whatever. And like the you meet like the vixen style chick that speaks in a French accent at first until you like call her out on it. And then she just starts speaking in like an English, an American accent, which is funny. Yeah. Some of the villains are the bad guys are really cute, like the bartender and the fat politician.
Yeah.
And then I love like the little, you see them and you start seeing them everywhere. Like just the little characters and animations that they make stick out. Like I love the bats. Have you guys seen the bats in the game that are just hanging upside down in places?
There's like snails too.
Snails, flowers.
It's very cute. Like there's a lot.
It's incredible.
There's a character early on. I think it's like the first guy you're chasing down. And it did get a laugh out of me because you're in this like airship or something, or like you're really high up and there's like engines going around. And he's like screaming at you from across this like large gap. And he's like, "You can hear me with all these engines?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, so it's got some cute writing. I like it. Yeah, I want to be clear that I think it's good.
Yeah, I got that vibe from you. I don't.
Yeah. The audience might not.
No, you hate it, Chris.
0 out of 10. Garbage.
You hate it. You said something negative.
Trash.
You hate it.
It's not Marathon. It sucks.
Trash. I do think there are some really, I think, strange things about it that I think they will be able to fix, and I think they'll be able to fix it fairly easily. A major thing is that there's no backtracking. I don't really understand that, especially because you have a hub world. Like, well, you have a hub world and then you drive to the different locations. It's very Cuphead-esque, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
that mini map.
Right, exactly. But it's like, so you just drive. What's the purpose of having this map if you can't go anywhere? There's like little things like that. And I look at that and I'm like, this should be fairly easy to fix. Because another problem is that there's in-game currency like money, and you use it to spend, and you can get locked out of things and you don't earn enough money. And if you miss a collectible, it's over. Like, that's the reason why I haven't beaten the game yet, is I'm using like a spoiler-free collectible guide on each stage just to get everything, because I can't go back, you know? So if I like go too far and then I'm like, oh, fuck, I missed something. It's like, you got to restart the stage. And if you get to the end of the stage and save, it's over. Like, so they're very generous with 50 save spots, and I've been using them just to be sure that I'm not fucking anything up along the way. Because if it was a game, if it simply had stage replay, I would just play it blind. But I don't have the time to like dick around with this thing if you're not going to let me replay it. So little, quality of life things, I think, that a lot of people are complaining about. I think they'll fix that stuff. And there is some choppiness and slowdown, which I don't typically notice in a lot of games if it's not severe. But like when there's a lot going on in the game, it chugs on PS5 Pro. So there's that. But these are minor quibbles. I think the other thing is, and it's become kind of a meme about the cheese in the game.
Oh, yeah.
I continue to say, and you and I talked about this on the stream, Dustin, but I'll say it here for this audience, is I find it charming, actually. It's a little annoying at first, but then it's like, it's kind of just endless and it's cute. Like they have an endless number of euphemisms that all have to do with cheese, basically. And it's cute.
Yeah.
Like falling into a pit of cheap fondue or something, like weird things. Like, I just think I find it charming. And I don't know. I think it's so unique. There aren't terribly unique things going on in the games industry anymore.
Right.
And a lot of things are sequels, or in my own game, inspired by something or things or whatever. Like, this is obviously inspired by a bunch of things too, but there's nothing like it, actually. And it is another one of those ideas, because it relies so much on its visuals, just like Cuphead, that it will not be able to be replicated. So that's the coolest part, is like, you're going to be looked at as a complete, if you do this rubber hose 30s thing in a shooter, you're going to look like you're ripping these people off. And it's just like that shitty Cuphead spinoff we talk about, right? Like you're kind of safe. And I wonder, something I noticed, and I don't know if this is reading too much into it, is when you go into the trophy list, it just says mouse. And I'm like, cool. It seems to me like that's the series. It's not like this one-off game, like they're going to do more. And I bet you with the sales of the game being as strong as they are, that they're going to do more. So I'm very complimentary of this game. I highly recommend it. I mean, so if you're into boomer shooters, 100%. If you're into like weird aesthetics and unique approaches to presentation, 100%. If you're obviously into like noir and shit like that, obviously you're going to want to check this out. Although I think some people, and that was the crux of the IGN review, right? It was like, it's not really noir. So it's like, go suck a dick. Otherwise, I think I'm so happy for their success. It's a very crowded space to release a game unintentionally, because you have Pragmata, that game Windrose everyone loves. Saros is right around the corner. Vampire crawlers, right? That's what's called. There's just a lot. So to be able to carve out your space even for a moment, I think is really laudable for them. And then obviously I said it earlier, but I platinum Saint Slayer, my own game on PS5. So that's number 206. I think I was the third person in the world to platinum the game. And I wanted to ask you this, Dustin, because I think this is who it is. I noticed that on the Saint Slayer platinum list, Zero Skirbo, that's the record guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's the first person to platinum the game. Yep.
Justin. Good dude. But he actually texted me. He's like, I got the platinum. Is Colin gonna be mad?
Oh no, I don't give a shit about that. I intentionally did get the first trophies in the game for beating the game, which I did want. I just wanted trophies with like comically early. Like I have March timestamps on those trophies, which I just wanted for sentimentality. After that, I don't care. I've been the first to platinum games. It's fun. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. So yeah, that's a lot. Pragmata sounds great. Vampire Crawlers, obviously. Mouse PI, Tomodachi Life, Saint Slayer. A lot of good games for people to mess around with. And it's just starting. I didn't put it in the news because it's not really newsworthy. What will come out of it is newsworthy. But did you see that Rebel Wolves is having they're going to reveal the release date of that awesome vampire game? What the fuck is it called?
Oh my God.
Why can't I remember the name of it?
Zero Wolves.
Rebel Wolves.
Oh, Rebel Wolves.
Blood of Dawnwalker. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, right.
Very excited about that. Like that game looks, I saw a little bit more footage of it and I was like, this looks phenomenal. It really does. It looks phenomenal. I hope it's as good as it seems. All right, my friends, let's end the episode as we always do with 6 questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas from the audience over on Patreon, patreon.com/lastdaymedia. You get myriad perks for supporting us over there, as you know, at different levels. And one of them is to submit your inquiries in the thread on the newsfeed each week for the different shows. Threads for Sacred Symbols go live on Wednesdays and are deleted Thursdays. So you have that little time period to get your inquiries in. And we have read them throughout the show, but we have 6 more to end things with. And we begin with Nick Stolte, who has a kind of a tongue-in-cheek one, but I thought it was funny. It says, hello, gentlemen. You have said that video games cannot exist without capitalism. How do you reconcile this argument with the fact that communism somehow produced perhaps the greatest video game of all time, Tetris? Will you be disavowing capitalism and embracing the warmth of collectivism, comrades? My answer to this is what else ever came out of the Soviet Union from the video game world other than Tetris? It's like, okay, like you hit a home run. Good for you. And it was Howard Lincoln, by the way, the capitalist, that made Tetris famous, along with others. So they didn't even know what to do with it on their shitty Soviet computers until it was discovered by Westerners who saw the capitalistic gleam in the eye, the dollar signs appearing, and so on. So I just thought that was funny. I wanted to acknowledge that. I wonder what others, there must be other Soviet games, but I don't know. And games coming from, I mean, China is communist.
Well,
but not really.
No, right. They haven't really been for a while.
Yeah.
Arguably. But
yeah, and I believe the creator of Tetris made no money off of it for a long time.
Yeah, it was basically
like it wasn't until who's the guy that runs the Tetris company? I watched the whole documentary about bulletproof software.
I'm looking it up. Hold tight, I'm looking it up.
Yep. But if you
Alexei Pajanov, is that?
Well, that's the creator of
Hank Rogers.
Hank Rogers, yes, Hank Rogers. He if you play Tetris Forever, you can get all the background about how Tetris came to be and how it was very tense between some of the publishers and all the confusion around the rights and the communist government. It's a crazy story. And the Apple TV movie Tetris, while it is of course highly dramatized, is an excellent movie. Really good.
I keep meaning to watch that.
It's super fun. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I loved it. The Tetris, I think, is like one of the not one of. I think it is like pinnacle, like a pinnacle fucking video game. I think it's so perfect. To the point where like there's really not much you can do to it to improve upon it other than just give it different presentation. That's what Tetris Effect does. It's just like what if Tetris but psychedelic and like dreamscape and kind of trippy.
Yeah. Tetris Effect added the zone feature, which was like a thing where you get to build a huge stack. So you could go beyond a combo of the Tetris 5 lines,
sure.
which was cool. I don't know if it made it better, but it made it different.
Yeah.
But
it's perfect video game.
The only big like advancement in there's two advancements in Tetris that I think revolutionized the game that are both very subtle. One is showing you your next piece, and the other is storing a piece. Those were the two things in Tetris that really meant a lot to the way the game is played, right?
I'd argue there's one more.
What's that?
The algorithm in which the pieces are laid out changed at some point. I'm trying to remember the exact details, but that's why like Game Boy Tetris is much harder than modern Tetris, not only because of the hold that wasn't available, but the order in which it decides to give you pieces changed at some point to make it more playable.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tetris.
Oh yeah.
Really wonderful game. Communism is uniquely inept in marketing and creating goods of consumer value. It's like it is to be fair interesting that it came out of there, but I think it shows you everything about that level of economic system where it's like you didn't know what to do with it. A good capitalist knows exactly what to do with Tetris. Dummies. All right. Swiss Made Menace wrote in and said, "Hey CDC, this one is mainly for Colin since he worked at IGN. I'll be very curious to see what you guys think of this. Can you be fired for writing a shitty review? Obviously, reviews are just opinions, but is it possible to be let go of from IGN if your opinion was way off the mark or in bad faith? I bring this up because IGN's review of Mouse PI for Hire has been getting killed on social media, and there's even a YouTube video titled "Might be the worst review I've ever seen" that has 3.1 million views. So is it possible that person could be fired just for having a very unpopular opinion about a game? Anything's possible. You're an at-will employee, but I would say no. The reason for this is you don't just publish your review. It goes through people, and really you have to decide where the buck stops. You are always going to be an outlier. And by the way, didn't they give it a 6?
Yeah.
And it's probably like what, an 8 something on Metacritic. I've been way more off than that. It doesn't mean that the review is necessarily wrong. I read the IGN review and I think it is weird, but it comes from a certain perspective. And I think reviews from perspectives that are blatant are good. This is why I don't like scores. The review, I always bring up Amy as an example, but another example of a review that I think is interesting that I interviewed a game. It was called Under Siege. It was a PS3 game. Mm-hmm. And it was so fucking hard, dude. Like, and I think that's what my review is about. Is like, I don't know, man. Like, and I think that's the unfortunate thing about a score, because that is such a valid review, but then that you have to attach this number, this numeral that then gets baked into this other number that matters for some reason. That's the unfortunate thing, but that's not really IGN's fault. I'm not saying this as an ex-IGN person. It's just like, it's kind of unfair to say like, we have a rubric, right? And we have a bunch of people who we endorse to score things on the rubric. You then take it and ingest it, and that's our fault. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, that's actually your problem. So this is why scores should just be gotten rid of, because otherwise that review would just be a novel perspective on a game that carries as much weight as people want to give the words, as opposed to focusing on the numbers and the pluses and minuses at the end. And I hate that shit, So no, like, I think anything can happen. You can get fired for a review. I know someone who got fired for a review at IGN. Well, first of all, the guy at IGN that we interviewed, Philip Mewson, was literally fired for a review. But when I was there, I've said this before, is that I was there. I started on right around the time this other guy started. I won't use his name, but he reviewed, as I recall, the Orange Box, but something about the review wasn't right, where he said he played the game but didn't, or something of this nature happened, or parts of the game. And I think it was verified by achievements and back end access to, telemetry, and he got fired. And I remember that happening at GameSpot around the same time, as some dude who reviewed an MMO, gave it a bad score. And then the devs were like, you played the game for 2 hours. We have all your data right here, kind of thing. That gets you fired. But rendering an honest opinion, I gave Dragon's Lair a shitty score at IGN because I think that game sucks. That's like one of the most famous arcade games of all time. It's beautiful. Play it. Go ahead and play it. And tell me it's fucking good. You know, it's certainly, and Dagan wants to kill me for that shit because he loves Space Ace and all that shit too. But it's like people were so mad about that, but IGN didn't do anything about that. I was probably 4 points off the Metacritic.
Right.
So I just don't. I've said before, it's nerve wracking when you publish and you give a game a score and you don't know what everyone else is going to say. But you're going to be the outlier once in a while. That's just the way it goes. So no, you're not going to get fired for that. And I think people are being a little dramatic about the mouse review on IGN. For as weird as I think some of it is and how hung up it is on noir and all that kind of stuff, it's like, whatever, man. These things will occupy as much space as you allow them. So just look at it that way. Chris, do you think this person should be fired for their mouse PI for a higher IGN review?
No. I mean, it's first of all, it's traffic now, which is the only thing that matters
right
at this point. So like, it's kind of better for you to have like some weird controversial review than otherwise. But yeah, I don't know. I read a little bit of it and I was just like, yeah, I mean, it kind of gets into that ludonarrative dissonance thing where it's just like, I get it and I appreciate. I understand that it's weird that Nathan Drake is a happy-go-like we like him, but he's also a serial mass murderer. Like, I understand that that's like an amusing thing to bring up, and I do kind of get like, and I was reading the review though, and I remember being like, I don't fully agree with this, but I do see, because dude, when I'm in the detective mode, I am kind of like, I do kind of want this to be a little bit more of a detective game, and then you're kind of thrown into this thing that's Doom, but it's not quite as. I don't know. I get it. There's a bit of a disconnect. I think he's a little bit hung up on the history. He brings up the history of like some film noir stuff, like actual like films and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, man, maybe doesn't need all that. But at the end of the day, he said it was okay, which I think is like a completely valid. Like, it's not like egregious. It's not like he gave it like a 3 or something. It's like absolute trash. It's not. This is garbage because it's not my idea of noir. You know, like that would be kind of insane. But like the conceit of the review is ultimately that like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm kind of in that pool, really. Like, yeah. I think it's good to okay. I wouldn't say it's bad. I think the presentation is excellent. I think the core moment to moment gameplay I think is fine. I don't see a huge issue with it. I think people are just weird about everything now. So like, there's no respite.
And
people can't have honest conversations anymore.
That's gone. True.
Yeah, people can't decide whether or not they care about IGN reviews or they don't.
Yeah, it's insane.
Because
that's a tale as old as time, believe me.
Oh, I'm sure. Looking over and reading some of this review, I'm with Chris where it's like I agree with a lot of this review, actually. And in regards to like the noir stuff, he brings up like, it's a goofy Looney Tunes FPS. Why should I care about any of that? And the answer is because Mouse wants you to. It wants you to believe that this is important. And I agree with that, where the game spends a lot of time on its story and talking to characters. And you do get a lot of charm from those characters. As Colin mentioned earlier, the characters are really cool. So I guess the time the game spends wanting you to invest in the story doesn't really lead up to anything that compelling. And I agree with that. And I agree with some of his other points too, that it is like a very competent boomer shooter, but not much more than that in terms of its gameplay. And that's going to feel different, like, or resonate with people in different ways. I think my thing, back to what you were saying, Colin, is that while I agree with almost all of his points, it all depends on how much emphasis you put into different things. Mm-hmm. So like the aesthetics and the charm of the game is what, when I did my video review, I was like, they nailed it. Because they absolutely, when it comes to the charms and the aesthetic of the game, something I really care about, was amazing. In fact, like 10 out of 10 in terms of the black and white noir look and style and feel of the game. But that's not going to carry for everybody. So I would disagree with his final scored number of the game, but it really doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it does matter for the game and how people decide whether or not they want to make a purchasing decision. But scores are dumb, as we've always said.
Yeah, I hate them. I hate them. They're good for vernacular. They're good for like a quick quib about like especially the idea of the 7. I think everyone understands what that means, but it doesn't mean that it's productive. And I wish we can get away from it.
You know, the real bummer, I think, is that like I think scores would be fine if we were just broadly more intelligent.
I was about to bring that up, Chris. Is that the problem is the people are too hung up on the score. The score is above everything else. It's the priority that, I don't know if I should say we or people in general put on the number above anything else. It's the problem.
Yeah, the score should be ideally, at least, and I don't know if this is how like people at IGN think about it, or if like this was the core of the idea when this apparatus was kind of like constructed. But like in my mind, the score is kind of like a thing to get you curious about what the review is going to be. Like you see a review that says like it has 6 on it, and you know that that's kind of like okay or like not as high as other scores. You'd be like, oh, I wonder what that is, and then you read the review. But most people don't do that. And worst of all, the people who do sometimes now, I think, go out of their way to sensationalize things a little bit more than they otherwise would be for, engagement or whatever, because we're in this engagement-driven culture now. So it's like it's a lose-lose. I think a score is valuable for at a glance, just like, oh, interesting, that got a 6. I wonder why. And then you read the review, and then you kind of have like a more fleshed out opinion. But like people stop at the review, and it's a bummer. Or people stop at the score, and that's a failing of a myriad of other things that we do not have time for.
What the hell's going on over there, Dustin?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just a quick little flash. I wanted to be in darkness.
Yeah.
That's how I'm doing the rest of the show like this.
You're like the banker in Deal or No Deal.
The first time it went dark was because I was trying to turn on my air conditioner so my camera wouldn't get too hot again. And I have a little convenient button here on my home screen. It accidentally got tapped. And I can just. Sorry if you're epileptic.
You're fucking them up.
Later.
You're fucking them up. Though it is funny though, just to cap this off, is because I obviously I was involved with IGN beginning in 2002, so I was there for 12 years, and I saw it all, and I heard it all. It's like there is this generational problem of people not understanding a publication's review, and that it is an endorsement of an opinion. That you can't possibly get all of these people together and they all share the same opinion, thus render the same verdicts that can then be indistinguishably interchanged with one another, so that everyone at IGN thinks that this game's a 7 and everyone at IGN thinks this game is 8. It's never the way it worked. I don't understand what the fuck people don't get about that. It's so weird. Like, you have to be a fucking retard not to understand that.
Well,
truly. Yeah, I mean, right. It's so frustrating. It's like, IGN said this about this and this is, I'm like, they what? Who cares? Do you have any idea? I would be curious. I'm sure they can pull the number at IGN. It's like, how many people have reviewed something? It's got to be over 1,000 between all the freelancers, all the it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
And I've also said, and I'll just say it straight up, and maybe I wouldn't admit this so much if I was still there. Is like, I don't even agree with a lot of the scores I gave games now. Like, there are games where I'm like, I underscored this, or I overscored this, or I would have done this differently. And the text rarely would ever change. It's just like my outlook on what I said. I overscored PlayStation All-Stars. 100%. Like, I didn't think I was, but I did.
What'd you score it?
I think I gave it an 8 or an 8.5 or something. And it's like, no, there's no way. But like, that's an authentic reflection of the way I felt at the time. And that's all it is. So you could just take it or leave it. I reviewed it 14 years ago. So I just people don't look at them as like stamps and times from individuals. And the only thing you get every day is different. Is like if you had like a Roger Ebert or something.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then you can theoretically have like a cohesive thing, or just my reviews. Then theoretically you should be able to put them in order of like how I feel about them. And they should have some sort of cogent outcome. But I've been gone from IGN for 12 years and I still get angry about it. Like that people are like they're still dealing with that. It's like, Jesus Christ. The one wrote in and said, hello, CDC. I don't know if you saw the news. Rebecca Valentine left IGN a few weeks ago and joined Kotaku as a senior reporter. This is what the owners of the site said, quote, "We acquired Kotaku less than a year ago and are genuinely happy with where things stand. The brand is moving in the right direction. The audience is there. The traffic is going up. It's doubled since we acquired the team. And we're now at a stage where we can bring the kind of senior talent that takes things to the next level. That's what this hire means," end quote. What do you boys think? Can Kotaku be saved? Rebecca was a great reporter at IGN, and it seems like Kotaku's owners are trying to make it a decent gaming news outlet again. But they have a lot of work to do to fix the reputation of that site, especially after so many years after the golden years when Jason Schreier worked there. But this does say a lot more about IGN. But this does say a lot more about IGN than Kotaku. If they lost another senior member there in the last few months, I don't know that it says more about IGN than Kotaku. She probably just got offered a lot of money, and that's the move you make. I don't know Rebecca Valentine personally. I don't care about Rebecca Valentine personally, but I will say that her reporting, she seems to be a talented reporter that has an agenda. So you're always going to like, you know exactly what you're going to read when you read her stuff. And you won't read any reporting from her virtually that I've ever seen that's bubbled up. I'm sure she's done a lot of things that have maybe not bubbled up, but anytime I see her, it's all about labor, about something unfair, about something tawdry or whatever, but never seemingly about other things. So that kind of journalism doesn't really do it for me. I want people that like are willing to report, a variety of stories and are good at it. And because otherwise I kind of don't trust your political outlook, to be honest, if you're just trying to run a labor story through or do this or that, the other thing. But there's no doubt she's one of the most prolific reporters in the contemporary industry, which frankly doesn't say very much. Can Kotaku be saved? No, I don't think so. But it's funny that I was actually going to reach out, Chris, to Ethan Gotch, who he was the one that wrote the story about us, right, back in the day.
Yeah. I remember.
And we've had a bad relationship with him, I guess, or an uneven and unsteady relationship with him. But I'm pretty sure he's the editor-in-chief of Kotaku now. And I was going to reach out to him and be like, let's talk about the site. But I don't know that he would say yes or not. I don't care about that because I ask people things that say no all the time. That's part of being in media. So that's fine. But I wonder if I could even approach it fairly because I hate them so much, like as a publication and like what they tried to, like what I feel like they bent the arc in the industry towards and the kind of bullshit that they infested the industry with for many years that it's hard for me to treat them fairly. And especially after what they wrote about us and did, and the character assassination, I think that helped contribute towards. So I don't think that conversation should or will happen. But from the outside, I just think, who's a Kotaku fan? That's what we have to understand first. Kotaku had a real fan base in 2010, 2012, even 2015. Who's like the modern Kotaku fan now? And like, who's reading video game websites? And is this a place you really want to be in? And I wonder like what they paid Rebecca Valentine to get her to move over and if it'll work. I just think that it's such a poisoned brand. Like, I don't think people have any respect for it. I know internally at many, like people internally at publishers and developers have hated Kotaku for years, but I'm talking about audiences. I just don't see like that. I just don't feel like they have one. But maybe I'm totally wrong. They said that the traffic doubled, but that's like Xbox talk, right? Like doubled from what?
Sure.
You had 10,000 views on a story and then you got 20,000. That's not that impressive. Not for nothing, So yeah, Chris, go ahead.
No, I mean, I just, it's one of those, can Kotaku be saved is like a weird, the framing is specifically like, oh, can Kotaku specifically be saved with their reputation? I really don't even think their reputation matters at this point. It's so like, we're dinosaurs by comparison. I feel like we like there's shit that I remember or that we remember that like nobody gives a shit about anymore. They've either forgotten it or there's a completely new audience of people who it doesn't even hold any weight to them. You know what I mean? Like reputation, especially now, I don't know if you've noticed, reputation doesn't really matter all that much. In order, as far as like success goes, like really what matters is like how good you are at manipulating algorithms and how much traffic you can get. That's really all that matters. That's really kind of the bottom line of it. And if they can do that, then sure, I guess. I would argue that it's less about Kotaku being unsalvageable, more so it's more about the space of video games writing on traditional websites that doesn't really seem like that big of a growth market. It doesn't seem like where things are happening. Like I wonder like what the demographics are of the people who go to that website, like age wise. Like is it 15-year-olds? I doubt it. Could be. Maybe there's a huge thing happening right now where like maybe the phone is becoming so obviously toxic that people are trying to like move away from apps or whatever in like almost in the same way that like millennials or like younger millennials kind of went to like towards vinyl and kind of boomed that like that shrinking market like big again, like now to the point where like, you can get vinyls at Barnes and Noble now, because they're that reliable again. Maybe there's like a nostalgia aspect to it, but like I don't see that. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't seen that wave going on about like about video game websites. So I just don't. It's not that I think Kotaku is uniquely unsalvageable. I just think like the general model of video game website where like you write an article, or even just like websites in general where people write articles, is the move in a world that's like primarily like TikTok, YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, it's a weird place to be.
Instagram Reels. Like I just don't. Maybe you can get a foothold with a lean team and you can make a pretty modest name and, pretty a relatively safe net for you. Like maybe that's possible, but like I just don't. I don't see that happening. I've been wrong before though, so who the fuck knows?
What do you think, Dustin?
I largely agree with both what you and Chris said. Just that websites are dying, and Kotaku is not uniquely positioned to have any kind of resurgence. People are more interested in individual creators at this point. Like even groups like us are on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we've managed to survive and even thrive in that is interesting, just because so much of it now is focused on individual creators. It's like people ask me like, should I start a podcast? Should I do something like you guys do? I'm like, probably not. You should probably do it on your own, because that's what people are looking for, is they want to find their guy,
mm-hmm.
that they understand their opinions. They may not agree with them on everything, but they can understand where they're coming from. They have that kind of connection where they can understand their opinion. So we'll see. I think websites will largely be relegated to regurgitating press releases. Occasionally, you do have outliers where there is actual news and research being done.
Sure. But then it just gets turned into videos and podcasts like this.
Right.
Like we you don't want to say we're not stealing the content, we're covering the content, but that eliminates and ameliorates the need of an audience to even go for the original content, which they could go to. And that's why I always try to cite my sources and encourage people to go read the things, because I want them to. That's a big thing that I want to throw out there as we move on to the next issue, is that much like I always tell people to look outside oneself, and how with PlayStation, for instance, like my buying behavior, I wish my buying behavior was the behavior of everyone, because then we would have a very different gaming industry with a lot of different games in it. But it is what it is. It's a similar thing with websites, where it's like, I wish that it was still Web 1.0. I loved it. I grew up in that era. It's how I got into the industry, and I love writing and reading, and it just is what it truly is what it is. When we bring up Chris is going to get a package. He has to go get that. When we bring up, and then he gets mad because I bring that up, but then I'm like, well, people are curious, like what's going on,
They want to know.
But I would love to live in an era, having worked on a website for 12 years, and before that on fan sites and everything I got, and GameFAQs, I would love to live in that world still. It just doesn't exist. And people ask us sometimes, and I think Maddie and I talked about it, because that's kind of where he's like, well, what about a website with like reviews and stuff? And I'm like, I just don't think that's a good idea. Like I wish we lived in that world, and maybe things will snap back in some way one day where people want something more quaint. I doubt it, but maybe. So yeah, it's as I think everyone's said already. It's like Kotaku has a bad reputation, but even if it didn't, I don't know that you can really salvage it. It's like Game Informer coming back recently. Mm-hmm. Like it was so funny, and it's cool, good for them. I'm happy for them, and I'm happy people are enjoying it. But like this excitement around it, and I'm like, no one's going to talk about Game Informer after 2 weeks. And lo and behold, it's like, yeah, because Game Informer is even from an earlier era.
Yeah, magazines.
I love like these like Sandy Bry's magazine. I thought I had a copy over here, but I don't think I do. But like I love these niche things that are not corporate that's like the only way you can do it. It's like Nintendo Force, Lucas Thomas's magazine that helped publish Phil Summers' Mega Man Guide or whatever. Like that's like a Kickstarted / Patreon supported Nintendo magazine, but it's a niche thing. That's the best you can do. And by the way, you can make really good money doing that shit. Go ask Lucas, go ask Phil, go ask us. Yeah. But you can't, it's never going to scale to what it used to be. And I imagine gaming, well, we know this already. Dustin already says this is like gaming adjacent ad revenue is already in the gutter. Imagine how bad CPM is on IGN for banners and shit. Like, so even if you can get people to the sites, like you're making a fraction of what you used to make. Ads used to be so valuable on IGN. The reason that we had a video, like everyone's always like, why did you have an endemic video player? It's like, dude, because like the ad revenue on our endemic video player is nuts, or was like orders of magnitude higher than you would get on YouTube. It's all based on that. And if you can't sell your inventory, you have a big problem. And that's the other question is like, who's interested in this ad inventory? They're barely interested in the ad inventory in the game space on YouTube. They're not going to be interested in web 1.0 adjacent websites. So we'll see what happens. But hey, they're trying. Tip of the cap to the man in the arena. I mean, cool. Piyush Pant wrote in, said, hey, Colin, Chris, and Dustin. Do you guys turn on motion aiming when you play games on your PS5? I believe it's a game changer for aiming on a controller, and it helps me a lot during Resident Evil 9. It's also available in Pragmata, by the way, both Capcom games. Most Sony first-party studios and even Capcom are really good with adding it to their games. P.S. It only gets activated while aiming down sights. Love the show. Thanks. I see this option, but I've never used it, and I never would want to. Maybe it does work really well. You know, yeah. I don't know. Mouse has mouse and keyboard controls on PlayStation.
Oh.
So we're getting into this kind of more fusion approach to things. And maybe motion can become part of that, but I wouldn't want to do that personally. Have you guys messed with this?
I have.
Oh, okay.
So motion aiming, I'm interested in it. I'm a little hit and miss depending on the game. I first opened the possibility of it being good when I was forced to use it for Splatoon 2. Those games have motion aiming in the controller. And at first it was odd, but I was like, you know what? This actually has a weird level of, I don't know if I want to say mouse-like precision to it, but it's actually quite good. And I think that it is, when you first think about the concept, I think immediately a lot of people think of like motion controls, Wii or something. It's like, I never want to do that again. And I get it. I totally get it. But I did try it with Resident Evil. I think I played most of the game that way. I may have switched between. It's odd because like sometimes I was really into it because it's like, man, I can really line up the headshots on this. But I think I also turned it on for Pragmata and it was also decent, but I ended up turning it off. So, but like Splatoon, I wouldn't want to play it any other way. And I think I've tried it with other games too, but none of them are coming to mind. But it's interesting. It's pretty compelling. I'm glad to see it's an option on these games. So definitely for Resident Evil, it's worth trying.
Chris, you gonna play with your PlayStation Move?
Nah, man.
Your dildo controller?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good, man.
You're a filthy controller player for Marathon too, so.
That is true.
You and Pork. I was commenting that like Pork, when you can actually walk slowly. Like you can just tilt the stick up a little bit. I'm like, nope, it's on or off. I'm either moving or I'm not.
Yeah, it's almost like it's valuable. I think I don't know, like to me I don't like the middle ground of it, you know. I think I think I only really have experience using it in, was it Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or both, that had like the gyro aiming for the arrows,
both
and stuff like that. So I remember like I tried it on that and I was like, I like this, but the games that I play that I need to aim, I'm aiming constantly. Like it's first person. Like it's fine for like short bursts of like accuracy when you like when you're aiming down sights in like a Zelda game where you have to shoot like an apple off a tree, or like when you got to headshot like 3 zombies in a room. Like that's fine because then you can go back to being normal. But I play a lot of first person games where you're aiming all the time, and specifically with Marathon and just Bungie games in general, like there's a lot of valuable like hip fire in those games. So you want to be able to aim even when you're not aiming down sights. Sometimes you just want to be able to spray, and you can, you know what I mean? And so like having it on constantly, I find distracting. And I also find it to be this like weird middle ground of just like, I'm on a controller, let me commit to the controller experience. I'm on a mouse, let me commit to the mouse experience. Don't kind of give me this like weird thing that's going to rewire. Like I'm already used to both of these in their own individual pockets. Like this is kind of a weird adjustment for me. So like I've never really considered it, especially for like real, like competitive, like multiplayer stuff, which is primarily the stuff that I'm most concerned with my aiming in anyway. So like, nah, it's cool. I like that it's there, and it's a neat feature, and I do dabble with it every now and again, but it's always something that I mess around with, and then I turn it off.
I feel a sneeze coming.
Let's see.
Excuse me.
Oh,
oh, you muted it.
I muted it. Yeah, I always mute. God, I sneeze so much. Mike has told me like my therapist told me this is like I just like grin and bear it all the time. Like I clearly have bad allergies living down here, and I just deal with it. It's like I don't do anything. I just raw dog it. Like I'm in the 18th century. Like I'm a guy living in a cave 300 years ago. Terrace Jerry Rudin said, "Hola, amigos. What have you learned from playing video games? I truly believe that gaming is just as healthy of a pastime as reading. I wish the benefits of gaming were discussed more often, especially when the majority of the population is just mindlessly scrolling through social media or passively watching TV instead. I would love to see a major player in the space launch an ad campaign highlighting all the cognitive and physical benefits of gaming." We could talk about this and get into this. It's totally fine. I wanted to read this for a specific reason, though. Who gives a shit? Not from Terrace Jerry's question. It's an interesting question, but why are we so eager to prove ourselves? I've asked this for years. Gaming is this and gaming is that. Like, listen, man, at this point, if you don't get it, you don't fucking get it. You know, like it is the dominant and it's supreme and essential form of entertainment, period. And it makes the money to show that, and it has the people by the hooks to show it, and more every day and every month and every year. I want us to move past this idea of like, and this is not, again, Jerry, I'm not attacking you. You didn't do anything wrong. What I'm saying is, who cares what people, naysayers think, and who cares? We always see things like, I would never date a man who plays games, right? And I was like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like, I don't, what is this, 1982? Like, we don't have to worry about this anymore. So are there things to learn from games? Yes. Chris and I always joke around about how I'll probably already be in there and you guys will join me later. Is like, I'll be in the old folks home and be playing some stupid video game. And will we find out that like generations that played games and people that play games are sharper, or I don't know, stay more active more, or using parts of their brains and spatial awareness? I don't know, man. But like, to me, I just don't know. It's interesting and it matters, literally matters. But I think figuratively, which is what we're talking about, it actually doesn't matter at all. And yeah, I just think of all the times people tried to take out games or tried to you know, badmouth them, and you know, Tipper Gore and the ESRB and all Dungeons and Dragons and Christian right groups and everything. It's like, fuck off, man. I just don't think we have to justify ourselves anymore. And I think that happened years ago. And now what you're finding out is that a lot of people want to be involved in this space because this is the supreme form of entertainment. Not this podcast. This podcast is so far from being the supreme form of entertainment. I'm talking about video games. So yeah, what have we learned from them? I've learned so much. I said a major thing when I was a little kid, I learned about football by playing Madden. I became obsessed with football because of Madden and the playbook and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I learned a lot about Norse mythology from Final Fantasy summons. I learned a shit ton of words. I learned the word quarrel from The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Yeah. These, like, I literally did, but I'm not trying to justify it through that space either. And having an ad campaign highlighting that is cool, but I think people that are already in the space understand and know that. And the people that are kind of anti-gaming or not into gaming, I know people in my family that like don't understand or give a shit or even trivialize gaming. It's like, I'm not out to prove anything to you. So That's my take on that. Chris, take it however you'd like.
I don't know. Like, I think my mind races because I just don't, I wouldn't even know how to not narrow everything down. Like, I know I've learned a lot. I hesitate to even specify because I just don't, like, it's all knowledge that I take for granted now because I've had it for so long, but I'm in agreement where I just like, it's part of why I didn't really love the push for TV adaptations that we were seeing and movie adaptations, because it felt like, and by the way, not even just the adaptations from like games to film, but even just like the emulation of film in video games. And it's why like even things like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and they're very impressive, there's an emulation there, and I remember feeling like it feels like we don't think we're good enough, really, and it kind of made me, it bums me out because those are great games also, but like it's trying to be TV in a way, or it's trying to be a movie in a way. And God of War is another one where it's just like it's you can tell that there's like this is HBO video game, you know what I mean? And it's like it's good, but like it bums me out that I feel like the conversation is shifted in response to games like those, where it's just like a game like Ball X Pit is not real. That's not a real, or like Balatro. It's like that's mobile,
right?
Or like it's not, you know what I mean? And stuff like no, you're like this is not the caliber. And again, this is just like the score situation with the reviews, where it's just like these would be fine if we were just mature enough to like digest these things as they should be digested. But like I do think it is just such a superior form of entertainment. I think there's just so much that you get out of it. I look sometimes at some of the older people in my family, and they're just like, they're retired and they're not doing anything, and they're just sitting there staring at the TV, and I'm like, brother, you have this entire, you more than anybody I know, you got the time, and you've got like such an insane breadth of experiences like just waiting for you for the first time. You're 60 years old, you get to play like the most iconic shit in the world for the first time ever. Like, I'm envious of that in some way. By the time I'm old, I'll probably be jaded. Maybe I'll hate video games because I've played so many of them. They'll all feel the same. But like my retired uncles or whatever that are just sitting there not playing video games, I'm confused by it. Because like, what else? What are you doing? I know what you're doing. You're sitting there watching The Price is Right over and over again. And guess what? Yeah, it is $6.99. Yeah, you're right. Play a fucking video game. Like, what? My dad's enamored with Red Dead, but he hasn't played it. And like, maybe, I don't know, maybe he just can't. Maybe it's
our parents just, there's something like, my mom is much more open-minded about it. My dad never gave a fuck. Like, I can't convince him. And they're so old, and they're in their ways now. It's like, that's fine. What frustrates me more, and this is what you're getting into, is like knowing people that would appreciate it if they just gave it a chance.
Right. Yeah.
And there are a couple of people that I feel that way about, where I'm like, just shut the fuck up. And like,
dude, I know my dad would be all over it. If he had the patience and could get over it, the hump to figure it out. Like, if my dad reached like even base level proficiency, I feel like he'd be all over like Splinter Cell. Like, it's right. It's his thing, dude. Like, I swear. And he's just like, no, I'm going to watch NCIS again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then my mom will be like, haven't we seen this episode already? And he's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's I think it's intimidating. It's become more intimidating.
I get it. But you also, you have infinite time at this point. Like, like at that stage in your life, well, not infinite, I guess, but at that time in your life, you've got so much more time than at any point in your life before, maybe since childhood. You know what I mean? To just be and exist. You're retired. Enjoy it. Oh my God. The second I don't have to do fucking anything, I'm not going to stop. You're going to have to peel me away to just see my family, probably.
Yeah, I just don't understand the real, like, I feel like books have really enriched my life, and certainly TV shows and movies, but like there's this plague around video games where it's like looked at as like a unique waste of time. And I'm like, if anything, it's a unique way to engage someone in so many different ways. Doesn't trivialize those other things. It just says it kind of puts them all together.
Yeah, it's all of it together. It's like an ultimate fusion. It's
right,
awesome.
Exactly. You either get it or you don't, but clearly more and more and more and more and more people are getting it. You're peeling more and more people off. But I also find in my life, like, I'll, a neighbor, talk to a friend of a friend or whatever. And there are a lot of people that just don't play games.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have other hobbies that potentially keep them busy. Sergio Pena has the final inquiry. He says, hello, boy. Wait. Oh, I'm sorry, Dustin. I didn't go to you. I'm sorry. It's so disrespectful. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I know it wasn't intentional, but you guys covered the side aspect that wasn't, Terrace Jerry's main question. It was a point he made, so it was worth talking about. But talking about learning things from video games, I feel like Chris and I in particular, we started playing video games right when we were learning how to read. And I always think back to those early Pokemon games when I was in kindergarten. And Pokemon did not teach me how to read, certainly. But Pokemon did help strengthen my ability to read. It was really basic stuff, like basic little conversations. But it was a big boost, I think. And also like playing games like, I feel like Roller Coaster Tycoon, like, can you put an actual skill? No. But when I was 7 years old, did it teach me about like basic business sense of selling things?
It's like subtle math lessons, it's subtle reading lessons, history. Dude, it's amazing.
And even when I was older, like I think it was when I was in late high school when I played Total War Shogun 2. It's like, wow, Japan was really trying to kill each other quite a bit with all these different clans and stuff. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, you don't need that justification, but it is always there. It's ever present. I even think about like when I used to play role-playing games and like when I was a kid and Dragon Warrior games, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6, I would always keep a piece of paper next to me and I would keep track of like the items I couldn't afford and like how much I needed. I would add them all up. And it's just little, like I'm not saying it's like fucking splitting the atom, but something.
I think I learned how to socialize on like Xbox Live, to be honest. Like I think like that was
I could see that.
Like, yeah, clearly. But just like being able, like, that's the thing too. It's like, dude, just being able to I think it's a little underrated, the freedom that gave to kids. Like to be like pseudo adults with each other. Like not like, because you couldn't really, at least where I was, like there was no way, like if you wanted to hang out with your friends, you couldn't just like, hey, you couldn't just walk to your friend's house without your parents. You couldn't like call a cab. You were 8. So like being able, or like 9, like to be able to meet up after school digitally and just converse like people, which you don't really get a chance to do in school. Really, in school, it's all like, you're doing stuff that's important, but you're not like doing the people thing. Really. And so like having that after school, like when you're not going to be doing anything else for like years and years and years, it's like, it's a useful tool, because I was a lot more like, I didn't really, I don't know. I was a lot more quiet. And then like days and days, every day speaking with the same people over and over again, like a party chat or whatever, you just kind of learn how to be a person because you're interacting with people a lot more than you would. Like if I didn't have Xbox Live or whatever, at that age, like I would have only ever seen people like maybe on weekends or like at school for like maybe like 30 total minutes in between classes, which is not a lot of time. So like I think it's just, I don't know, man. There's a lot of value that I think is underappreciated, but we all know that. And anybody who doesn't get it is just like, they're not going to be convinced by an ad campaign. We don't need them.
The one thing I agree. And the one thing I'm surprised about too is, and I've articulated this in the past, is I am flummoxed. Logic would tell you that we are more literate than ever. Logic would merely tell you that because we all have phones and computers and screens in our faces all the time. And what you find out is like there's entire high schools in like random cities where like every student is 1 inch away from being retarded. No one can read. And the average GPA is like a 1.1 or something. And I ask myself, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like you can be a farmer's son 150 years ago and be illiterate. And that makes sense. Sucks. But it's like, you didn't need to learn how to read. You were fucking digging root vegetables out of the ground when you were a toddler. And all these, but like you have these screens in your face and these video games and these phones and all this, and you can't read. I don't even know what's going on out there.
You know what's worse is that the only stuff that you have to read, like medical documents or like legal stuff, is written in the most fucking confusing way possible.
Sure, that's true.
That's what makes it so much worse. This is like all your optional reading is like so easy and so fun relative. And then like you get like some documents like, here's jury duty, and it's like all, it's just a hell to figure out. But I think the issue, I don't know, it's larger, I guess, but it's not that people can't read, it's that they can't comprehend or interpret. Like, comprehension's so low. Everybody can read. Everybody knows what words mean theoretically, like in a general sense, but they don't know what they mean together, or like they don't know how to combine things with like greater contexts. I remember when I first noticed this going on, by the way, like this might make you laugh maybe, but like I remember when I first noticed that there was a real problem was when I would see people often saying like, oh, well, that's just your opinion. It's like, yes,
obvious. Yes, that's implied.
That's implicit to the like. That was when I knew, and that was a long time ago. That was like maybe like 2011, 2012 that I remember I started seeing that, and I remember being like, oh, it's over. It's over, because like, what do you mean I have to tell you this?
It's
Are we serious?
Man. I mean, yeah, the internet has, social media has proven the illiteracy is it's flagrant. I find it disturbing. Like, listen, I'm just going to say it. I've never been more confident in my life that I am in the top 5% of literate people, just based on the interactions people have with my own posts. No doubt, zero doubt. Just reinforced it to me. I used to think I was a lot more average than I actually am.
I used to think I was, that's what's so funny about it. It's like, I used to think I was like really stupid. And the sad thing is, it's like, I probably still am, but I'm also where, you know what I mean? In that five, the top five.
Oh, the
like
bar's low.
I am still probably just as stupid or as stupid as I was, if not maybe a little stupider, because there's no doubt I've forgotten a lot of things. But everyone has fallen so low, or at least like that's what it feels like online, which is not the best barometer.
No,
to be fair.
No.
And there's also a lot of fake stupidity going around, which also takes the fun out of that too. So it's all sad. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
It's performance. Like, I see a lot of like people circulate like Reddit posts. Like, look at this Reddit post. I'm like, this is so clearly not real. Like,
the amount of
someone wrote it, obviously, but it's not. This didn't happen.
The amount of times I've seen the same tweet go viral.
Oh my God.
Makes me feel like this is going to sound insane, but it makes me feel like I wonder if that's how like God feels when he sees civilizations rise and fall again. It's just like, oh, you're doing this shit again. Really? You did this again.
It's so funny, man.
It's insane.
All right. Now we'll get to Sergio Pena.
Yeah.
It says, hello, boys. Colin, I wanted to remind you of a topic you said you'd talk about during an episode of Sacred, but never did. The sadness of deleting friends from your PSN friends list. After you said on a stream that you had done this and there was a weird sadness behind it, I decided I'd try it myself. I went through my friends list, and as I was doing so, I decided to check into some of these profiles that haven't been active in years. It made me wonder what happened to them. These are people I remember playing Rock Band and Destiny Online with, talking to, getting to know, but haven't been active in at least 2+ years. Did they switch to PC? Did they grow out of gaming? One in particular made me incredibly sad that they haven't played a game in at least 2 years, but were still subbed to PS Plus. It made me wonder if they unfortunately passed away and their subscription was never canceled or their credit card hasn't expired yet. Just wanted to remind you to bring up this topic and how you felt about it. Thanks as always. I thought we did talk about this on the show, but I'll take your word for it. I guess we did talk about it on the stream. So I did purge my friends list some months ago. And I talked about at the time that I felt this emptiness about how did I connect with this person? Why am I most of them are people from IGN, like PSN people or whatever, that found me over time. But I remember when the friends list was 100 people, not 2,000, which it became with PS4. So like you really got to know like the rhythms of these different people. And then as I stopped paying attention to my list, and then when I realized like I have like 500 inactive people on here. And I started going into their profiles, and there was a somberness to this person hasn't logged in. I think at some point it says more than a year. It doesn't get any more than that, right? And then it just says more than a year. It hasn't logged in. But you'd go to their trophies and it's like, dude, this person hasn't earned a trophy in 10 years. Or this person doesn't play games anymore. This person, like, even longer than that sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, what happened? There is this interesting... When I moved out of my grandma passed away and we sold her house on Long Island, we cleaned it out, and she had a drawer, a very Catholic thing, a drawer of the funeral cards, wake cards that you get at Catholic funerals specifically. And I was going through them, and they went back to the 40s until like the late 90s or whatever. And I was like, damn, this is an ephemeral piece of some history that exists in this tangible way. And in some weird way, that the legacy PSN game, because they're not deleting any of these names, even if they're inactive. It's like they're just permanent legacies of people that will one day, and maybe don't already exist, but will one day not exist. And there's something truly haunting and melancholic about it. I don't know why. I just feel that way. I feel that way when I read old forum posts or Usenet things that have been floating around for many decades or whatever. And I'm like, damn, this is ancient and weird. And like, a digital echo, very similar to those funeral cards. Perhaps a final taste of a person's existence from your own perspective. Yeah, there's something to it. And we'll all have those accounts one day. And I remember the first company I ever saw deal with the idea that someone dies is Facebook, where they have like they memorialize your page and do shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of, it's creepy and weird. So as I was deleting those hundreds of people from my list that have been inactive, and I was looking at some of them, I'm like, damn, this guy hasn't earned a trophy since the PS3 era. Wonder what he's up to. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any reflections on that, but I'm sorry, Sergio, I didn't realize that I didn't talk about that on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to add. I think I've noticed that sometimes. Like, well, I'll see some of like last on Xbox. It's like a lot more granular, I think, or it's a lot more specific. So I think it says like last online 6 years ago, or
okay,
or something like that.
That would drive me into a fucking spiral if I saw that kind of shit. Probably.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's how it is on Xbox. They're more data specific, but like, yeah, it's weird. Especially because like for me, I never added anybody that I didn't know in person or fairly well. So like my friends lists are always like very, very small. So seeing them, it's just like, oh, that's Jenna. Oh, she hasn't played. The last game she played was, Dead Space 3 fucking forever ago. And I know she's alive or whatever, so it's not morbid or whatever, but it's like, I wonder, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Space 3 was like, it's just like, I give up.
Yeah, that's the end.
They ruined Dead Space. But yeah, there is a somberness to it, especially if you know them. You know, or maybe if you know them, but you don't know what their situation is, really. Like, you haven't kept up. It's like, oh, Justin from high school. Oh, 8 months ago. The hell were you doing? Yeah, and how long are the droughts? Like, do you normally spend like 8 months away and then you come back and play some random thing, or do you spend years away? There's a random blip. There's a curiosity that I feel, but like I can't. If I really let myself go down that road, I'll be occupied for hours.
It's just another example, Chris, of us being constantly reminded of things that we wouldn't otherwise be reminded of. It reminds me of like your exes on the internet. Like, you could very easily investigate any ex. You look up that person's Instagram account, their Facebook, their Twitter, their LinkedIn. Like, you could know everything about them. But back in the day, you had to move on. You know, and like, so you're getting insights and glimpses into the rhythms of people's lives that are unnatural. And this is an example of that, which is like, it really doesn't matter when the last time, Dave Smith played, a video game, but you know that to the fucking second for some reason.
And then sometimes to the second. And then sometimes you'll know that, and then you'll point it out to yourself and you'll be like, oh, cool. All right. Interesting. And then you think you'll forget it, but no, you'll remember. That'll take up a useful memory slot in your limited brain, where like a password to a really important account should be. But instead, that like, that Dave Smith stopped playing on August 16th, 2026. Or 2022, or like it's like, what the fuck do I need to know this for? And why do I remember it? It's just dumb. It is insane. I don't think it's healthy.
No, it's definitely not healthy. Like
everything.
I've been really disciplined about not, generally speaking, especially as I've gotten older, like really disciplined about just letting go and like just being like, don't go down those roads. You don't want to see the ex with another guy. You don't want to see what the person you don't talk to anymore is doing. You don't need to know.
Yeah.
But you always want what you can't have. So it's like,
right.
Back in the day, you would have died to know. You just have to like bother other people to be like, have you seen No lately? And it's like, now you just have, it's crazy. It is unnatural. I appreciate the neo-Luddite movement of trying to get away from all this shit. But Dustin, anything you want to add before we move?
Yeah, it's just a reminder. I need to go delete some more friends from my PSN because I was adding everybody like you did, Colin, but I feel like I'm disconnected from the people I actually know on that platform because my friends list was so full.
Yeah.
So you can try to add me, but I won't accept it.
Yeah, I don't like knowing. I don't like my lists being full of people I don't know. Like, I just don't like. I've had people be angry at me about that too. It's like I remember like he was like, "Why don't you accept people on PSN?" I'm like, "Are you crazy? Relax. It's not that big of a... I'm not going to play with you anyway. I'm going to be playing with the people I know anyway. So like it makes no difference to you. You can check my profile if you want. I'm playing Pragmata. There you go.
It's funny. Like I like it for the anecdotes that I often get from it for sure. But I appreciate what you're saying there because I just had that moment, Dustin, where like I see all these friends. I don't know who the fuck any of these people are. And then I see my best childhood friend, Mike Pope, on there. His screen name. I know his screen name because it was his AIM name. And I'm like, I'm friends with Mike on here. Like,
yeah,
what? Like, I don't think like, when did that, how long has I been friends with him on here? And then I was like, yeah, I don't have any idea what he's doing because it's a bunch of people I don't know. But I do like the data. Shit ton of people playing Saint Slayer. I wish that anecdote was accurate to all players, but unfortunately, we have a.
It's interesting. It's interesting for data.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to approach it that way, like that's completely.
Yeah, I love I do just scrolling around to see what people are playing. Yeah. And it is interesting. And then, like I said, you see like pre-orders. If like Saros probably has like dozens of pre-orders from my friends list right now. And it'll say like 28 friends pre-order this or something like that, which is cool. It does get fucked up though because the counter counts pre-order. Like if there's a demo, it counts as a pre-order. And so you'll see some games with like Pragmata was one of them with like hundreds of pre-orders, and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, there was a Pragmata demo, which counts as a pre-order on PlayStation Network. It's like, okay. That's it. It's time to go. This is a tight little episode of Sacred Symbols Plus. I didn't, or Sacred Symbols, the PlayStation podcast. I didn't mean for it to be that sexual when I said that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's go around the horn and say goodbye to everyone. Chris, goodbye to you. Be well. I hope you have a good day. I know you said you wanted to have a good day, and I hope you are going to have a good day after this.
Yeah. It's looking pretty good. Got a little bit of I have a bunch of papers on the ground just off screen because I was going through some paperwork just to make sure that everything was like filed correctly. But it's just like a pile. Like I literally just pushed it off to the side. It looks like a mess in here. So I got to address that.
For your taxes?
But well, it's the aftermath of taxes that I've been putting off. I've just had like all this paper on the ground for ages. I'm like, my reward for doing it is that I'm just not going to touch this pile and not think about this for a week or two. And it's getting, I should address this pile. But day's pretty simple for me. I think Pragmata, maybe some marathon, maybe, I don't know. So it's a slow day. I've got to upload some podcasts too. So it's an indoor day.
Excellent. It's good to see you today with your Crash Bandicoot shirt, looking very handsome.
Yeah, he's holding the Snapple.
Oh, that's all.
This shirt is insane. I saw this and I was like, I have to. This is one of those. Perfect. I know it sounds incredibly cringe, but it's like I saw this and I was like, this is so me.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It is a cringe thing, but everyone feels that way once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dustin has a visitor.
Wow,
a female caller
right at the end. Oh shit! Look what she brought here. I haven't seen these in ages.
What is that? A card? Is that cards? Cards?
They're One Piece cards.
Oh, cool.
They're
they come in like cardboard now, so they don't get bent up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. I remember getting folded up cards. It was a nightmare.
It is. I'm just casual about it. I haven't seen these in months. I was at Target and I was looking and there were two guys there. And I said to Holly, I was like, oh, they never have One Piece. And this guy interjected himself into the conversation. He's like, oh, no, they come in here and they clear the whole place out. As soon as they restock them, it's on Wednesdays in the afternoon. I was like, oh, okay.
It just shouldn't be allowed. I've said it before. Like, if you're confident that you're going to sell all of them, then just have a limit. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
it's fucking weird. It's like, it's that simple. Just have a limit at the register.
Yeah.
Strange.
It was funny. It was like a big gulps, huh? Moment where I was like, well, happy hunting, boys. And then when I walked away and they were like, oh, we'll see you at the card show. I think I told you this, Colin. They were like, we'll see you at the card show in a couple of weeks. I was like,
no, you won't.
You won't see me there. I'm not a dork.
Okay.
I walked away in the middle of recording because I got a package.
One Piece cards?
No.
Oh.
I bit a little bit of a bullet.
Oh, good for you. That's cool.
I don't normally get these, but I was like, they were on sale. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Sure.
I could use it. I could use another one.
Yeah. Could always use another controller. Well, Dustin, we were saying goodbye to you when you were interrupted by your female caller. So what's on your agenda for the rest of the day?
What's on my agenda? My throat and sinuses are feeling worse, unfortunately. So I'm worried that this weekend will descend into a cold. But that's okay. I've got plenty of highly addicting video games to play, and I can just waste away inside while there's beautiful weather. And honestly, I have no problem with that. So
fair enough.
I'll be chilling. It was a fun show. Good times as always.
Yeah, good to see you.
Colin, what are you doing this evening?
Oh, thank you for asking. It's the NFL draft tonight.
You go downtown. You're doing the draft.
I'm not
going down there.
It's for the next 3 days, but tonight's the first round, so that's the biggest part of it. So we'll be watching that, and Mike is going to make wings for it. Backyard's getting pulled to pieces right now.
Smoked wings.
Yeah, I think that's what she's going to be doing.
Interesting.
She's on one, man. I'll tell you. Like
smoked wings, low key. They're very good.
Yeah, so this is the thing. It's like, I want to help contribute to her passion, but it feels like buying your wife a vacuum, right? Like I am the greatest beneficiary of this passion. We eat steak and chicken and pork and all this. She's just going off out there, and I'm like, all right, I'll bet you get whatever you want. But then I feel like it's just being self-serving, but she really does love it. She really, she has a passion for this that like, I think is just as passionate as she is about games. I want to do more to help facilitate that, but I feel like it's very self-serving, or it comes off as that way. Right.
You're looking at it the wrong way. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. You provide, you're the sugar daddy.
Yeah, totally. I
buy whatever. She'd be like, get whatever you want. And she gets to fulfill her passion and you get to eat.
It's funny because she doesn't buy or do it. She doesn't spend money at all. Like I always tell her that. I'm like, buy what, like she's worried about that. I'm like, buy whatever. Like, I don't want to spend. I'm like, buy whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Holly's like that. She'll ask me about a $5 purchase in public. And I'm like, come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that
to
me.
Come on. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. I'll take the dogs for a walk. It's 83, but it's cloudy. So hopefully it won't be so hot. And just some other odds and ends. And then I'm recording with Jaffe tomorrow, and then it's the weekend. And I haven't, I was busy obviously with Saint Slayer. Thank you everyone for buying it. Appreciate you. Keep buying it, reviewing it, but couldn't do it without you. Mouse has been keeping me busy. So I have Pragmata. I pre-ordered it right before it came out to download it, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So I had this real ambition that by today I would have beaten all of these games. And I'm like, well, I don't know what, like, I don't know for how many years I'm going to like set these mental goals and never meet them. Never.
It is insane.
Never have I've been like, all right, I have 10 days. I'm going to do this, this, and this with the games. And it never happens. So I don't know why I keep doing it. So hopefully I'll get the Pragmata at some point. I want a platinum mouse. I heard some of the trophies are broken though. So I will see if that will be possible within one playthrough. And then on to guys, Saros Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is it really that close?
Yeah. It's if you pre-order it.
Oh, if you do the...
it's Thursday if you don't. Well, I'm pre-ordering.
Are you going to get God?
I'm getting God, and I don't mind. I want Housemarque to have more money. So it's like,
that's fine.
That's fine. Like, good. Take it. So that's it. Guys, I appreciate you. Good to see you. My very best to you and yours. Thank you all out there for your love and kindness and support of all things Last Stand Media. Patreon.com/Last Stand Media for early ad-free access to this and all of our other shows. LastStandMedia.store for merch. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.